Alright, hey guys, Alkalay Lake here. I already did this. I thought I pressed the live button, but apparently I didn't. So just in case it didn't record this, hi, I'm Alkalay. If you bought this pattern on Etsy, we are assembling it today. So if you did, thank you for purchasing my pattern. I know it can be difficult. It's an intermediate level pattern. So I want to walk you through all of the steps. I have the base all cut out. We'll cut out all the overlays together. And if you're watching this video later, I will do my best to add markers to this. And if live videos won't let me add markers later, then I'll cut this down and make a video for you guys. So welcome here. Lady Loki time. Oh, and Porter time. Hey, buddy. I don't know if he'll jump up so you guys can see. Come here. Up high. Up high. Come on. Jump, jump. Come here. We'll see if we can get Porter to say hi for you guys. Come on. Oh, there he is. Can you see? Maybe? Up. Up. Come on. Maybe we don't have a Porter on screen today. Come on. All right. Yep, I think we're gonna have a Porter. Oh, there we go. Okay, you say hi. Porter says hi, and then we can start stream. I know, I just ate a protein bar. You smell it. You want it. All right, big dog time. You gonna help me craft? We're gonna make a Lady Loki corset. You can do that? Yeah? That sounds like a yeah. Okay, buddy. All right, down you go. All right, let's get Chad up here. And looks like we're finally live. I think I finally got it. I think we're live. Is it finally working? I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody in chat who can comment. My phone says it's not working, but in front of me it says it is, so. Let's see. Waiting for Nerd Up Level Up. Hey, good morning, Philip. Do you guys see me okay? Because I can't watch on my phone. Oh, there we go. Is it finally working? We know it's working now. Okay, so I have chat up. Hey, it's so nice to see you, Wood Dragon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, we are finally all together, and this stream is gonna go a little bit more like how a YouTube video will go. So I'm gonna chat with people more. Thanks, Nadia. Thank you. All right. Ooh, and I have to get background music. 1 second, you guys. And I promise I'll talk about my LA trip and all that, but this is gonna be mostly instructional, so. There we go. And I can't watch my video feed because it's so, like, behind. So, anyway. Doing my best for you guys. All right, I have to grab my tools, which I put over here. I had to completely redo my room today in order to be able to do this stream. Hey, buddy. You gotta get off that, man. Porter's all about helping today, apparently. Hey, buddy. You just gonna hang out? Well, that's nice. I've missed you. Hey, you know what's crazy, John, man? I did not know, and I follow Gem City Comic Con. I did not know that Gem City Comic Con was having a get-together in the park, at Settlers Park, or I would have gone. So if you know those things are happening, will you message me next time? Because I was like, how do I not know about this? And I was sad. I was sad that I missed it. Anyway, I hope we have enough light for me here. Let's try a little brighter. I don't know if that works. We'll see. Da, 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 da. Is that music too loud? It's probably, the mic's probably picking it up quite a bit. I bet it is. I'm gonna turn it down just a little bit. And I promise we'll get going. It's always so hard for me to get going on YouTube because I don't have a great YouTube setup yet. That's probably better. I reduced it by like 30%. That should do it. Okay, so let's go, you guys. I'm gonna assemble this pattern. First thing I did was cut out the base pieces, which basically means all of the pieces that make up the under part of the corset. So pretty much the part that you never see. Oh, sorry, next time you will. Oh yeah, no problem. It's just so weird. Like because I only knew about it because I saw your photos on Instagram. And I was like, what? John Man gets all the fun. So, yeah, I was like, how did I not know about this? And I double checked to make sure I was following them. I was like, am I not following them? But I absolutely was. So, all right, so I cut out all of these pieces. I want to answer a question for anybody that bought this pattern ahead of time. Something I really want to talk about is why the bust pieces here are so weird. Also, I might need to zoom out this camera for you guys. Looks like I might need to zoom out this camera. Give you a bit of a wider angle. We'll see if that is better. It's gonna take a while for me to see the adjustment that I just did. Okay, because the latency is so bad, even though I have it on low latency. Yeah, this looks like it might be better. Nope, it's worse. I wish I could see it in real time. Sorry, you guys. I promise I'll get YouTube figured out more. I've YouTube streamed several times, but I need to do it on OBS. I have to have OBS up in order for me to see what your guys' view looks like. There we go. So let me fix it on OBS first. That's perfect. Okay. And now that I've got that good, we'll go back to YouTube. It's so hard to see it all. Okay, so I'll put OBS here, put YouTube here. There we go. I've got it, you guys. Okay, I've got it. All right, it's time. It's time. It's officially time, I promise. Okay. On your screen, it looks good? Okay, yeah, I think I finally got it. I want to explain something for anybody who's bought this pattern on why I did the bust so weird. And I know if you've never made a pattern before, you might not think it's weird, but if you have made a pattern before, you're gonna say, Allie, this is weird. What the hell are you doing? Well, I have a reason why I did it this way. So a lot of times on patterns, they'll do a curved side panel on the bust, and I've made a lot of things with a curved side panel. I don't have one up here right now, but it's like the most common way to do it. But what I wanted was a shelf here. Like, I'm a bit bigger busted, and the thing that I don't love about Lady Loki's corset in the show is that it's such a flat panel, and I'm assuming a lot of people who bought this pattern are gonna wear this for Comic-Cons or costume contests, and it's just my preference that, like, I don't want this to come across wrong, but it's just my preference that the bust line shows a bit more. And this to me just looked like one of those like washboards. Like the way that they made it for the show was just a straight panel. And what's weird is I thought that the actress might have been super flat chested, but then I realized partway through the show, when they showed those scenes of her, how her costume can rip apart so she can breastfeed, which is amazing. And I was like, wait a minute, she must have like a bigger chest than I thought, because, you know, she's breastfeeding, so there's probably a little bit more going on there than it looks like in the costume. So what I decided to do was make the bust panel stand out more, and I wanted it to stand out in kind of a shelf. Like, I really wanted there to be a support line right here, and that's why I have an underbust seam. So this corset actually has almost the kind of support that an underwire bra would have. And that's the reason why I chose to make this an underbust panel, and why I chose to make the bust in these 4 different kind of finger-like pieces to come together. And I know that's more frustrating to assemble, but the overall look is way better. So anyway, that's why I did that. And also, for those of you in here who follow me on Twitch, I'll be Twitch streaming tomorrow. I am completely ready to come back to Twitch. I just needed to get my Etsy to take off, and sure enough, it has. Etsy is finally where I want it to be. Oh, the light's so weird on my face. Oh well. Okay, so let's glue this together. And hey, if you guys have any questions for me while I'm like doing instructions on how to make this, we can talk about LA, we can talk about whatever you guys want. First off, if you're assembling this pattern, you're going to want to cut out all the pieces first. Follow the description that I put on the patterns. It says how to cut them, the angles of how to cut them. The hardest part is going to be getting all the glue on these finger-like pieces without them touching each other. And if you've already made it past this part, then you understand what it is I'm talking about. I need a new brush. I used this one yesterday and it's hard now. It's okay, I have a bunch right here. So trying to get the glue in all of these pieces without them touching each other and sticking together is not the most pleasant. So you can do like a couple at a time and skip the one in between if you'd like, that touches the other one, and that can make it easier. I already made one of these yesterday. I have 5 of these orders that need to go out, and I'm gonna get them out probably by, I'm gonna say Sunday. So yeah, I have 5 of these custom corsets off of my Etsy right now that I'm assembling for other people. And you know, I thought that the paint yourself ones would be popular, which is like a cheaper way that you can buy this, because the corset itself is $230, and I was nervous that people would find that too expensive. But this pattern is so work intensive. There's so much work that goes into making this that it just has to cost that much. Plus I use real metal pieces on the corset. I use these metal pieces here, and then I accidentally ordered off Amazon. These are 22 karat gold plated. I was wondering why they were so expensive, but yeah, I actually use these gold beads on it. So my corset is super high quality, but I thought that people would want to buy the $140 one, which is the one that comes unpainted. You can paint it yourself. It just comes assembled, you know, no bells and whistles. No one's ordered that. I thought it was interesting. Hey Ryan, ew, there's a Tato on my phone. Oh my gosh. Wipe the phone, wipe the memory, fix it now. For those of you that don't know, I'm from Idaho, and so lots of potato jokes around here. I call myself the Tato Queen. Those who follow my adventures on socials, I call my Tato Army, my loyal potato peoples. So as you can see, you guys, I just wanted to explain, if you've never ever used contact cement, you have to know that you have to let it completely dry first before you put it together. So those of you who bought my pattern and are assembling my pattern and you're having a hard time with seams sticking, or you know, this is a question I've got. I've had a lot of messages on this pattern because a lot of people have bought it. So thank you for buying my pattern. And I made it open-ended so people can ask me questions and then message me on Etsy. And thankfully a lot of people are taking advantage of that. But I had one gal say she was really having a hard time getting her seams to stick together. And I think that she wasn't letting the contact cement dry. So that's you gotta let it dry. So or cure. So I have contact cement on both of these pieces. This piece should be cured now, but we're gonna wait just a few more seconds. Tato Army is here to help our Tato Queen. Oh, I appreciate that, Philip. Oh my gosh, thanks you guys. You think you need a new phone now? Might have to leave now that Filthy Tato is here. Yeah, the filthy one's here. Hey, Brennan, how are you? I missed your comment. And it's been a few minutes. Sorry about that. Cannot stay since I'm at work. Want to say hi? Well, thank you so much. Okay, you guys, this is the order that you have to do it. If you want your Lady Loki corset to be successful, you need to do this part first, okay? So I don't know why I was rubbing the bust pieces. That's weird. I apologize, YouTube. I am so odd. Also, if it's your first time here, I do have a birthmark on my hand. I get a lot of questions about this. This is the birthmark. No, it doesn't hurt. No, it's not a burn. So if you are watching my videos for the first time, yep, just a birthmark. And then I have a tattoo here on the side. So that's what that's all about. Also, I'll never have pretty hands for my whole life. Like, my nails are always going to have foam dust under them. I'm always going to have paint stains. Like, I actually have glue stains on my hands. Like, being a cosplayer, this is just kind of how it goes. You're kind of always gross. All right, so let's get this seam together. I labeled this. This says L in the corner, so I know it's left, which means I want the bust to pop out this way. And I have a seam for getting this more, a trick for getting this more curvy too. And oh, you can see this is not ready. See how it's kind of really shiny? It's actually not good. I'll try another piece. You can kind of get some air in there, or you can hit it with your heat a little bit if you want, but I try not to do that very much. There's actually just too much glue, so I'm just gonna wipe a little bit off. I'll check the other seams. It's easier to do outsides, the two outsides first, and then do the inside one last. So I'm just gonna come here, and this is gonna pop up this way, but I'm gonna put it together kind of inverted first. So meaning, let me get this up here on the camera for you guys. I'm gonna put these seams together. And see how I'm a little bit further on this one? You want to push it up and make sure that the seams line so you have a nice flush edge. Even if you have to squish or move the foam, you can squish or move it. And we'll talk about that a lot today, squishing and moving foam. All right, so if I turn this upside down, you'll see that it's not quite hooked together yet on the back. That's fine. That's going to all come together when we push it outwards. So this is seam 1. We got it. It looks good. Coming up here, we have seam number 2. And then you can see it's gonna look like one side is maybe a millimeter longer. That's okay. We're just gonna push it in. We wanna make sure these ends line up together and we have a nice flush piece. And like I said, you can push and manipulate the foam in order to get it to do that. So make sure you do that. All right, so again, not quite hooked together on the back. That's okay, just wait. Okay, so now we're coming in with this middle one. Coming in, hooking this together. I'll do the other one much faster. Now you can see that this looks kind of like it's inverted, right? Like this looks like it should go this way. Well, this is the left side, so it needs to pop outwards. So we're gonna do that now. So this is inside out. So I'm gonna push these seams together towards the back. And I promise doing your seams inverted first and hooking the outside piece will make everything turn out real nice. All right, so we have bust panel number 1. And what I like to do is I like to get this on the table. I like to use my knuckles. You gotta really put some work into it. And I'm gonna push these seams together. And I'm just gonna make sure everything's real nice. We don't want any separation. And it's okay if we do. By the way, if you have really ugly seams, they're splitting, it's gross, don't worry too much because this all gets covered. That's the beauty of this design and why it works so well. And I know I say the pattern's intermediate, and it is intermediate. This is a difficult pattern, and you'll see why when we get to the overlay panels. However, it's also a very forgiving pattern, meaning all of your seams get covered, right? So you don't have to worry about having pretty seams. So if you're a brand new cosplayer, you're a brand new foam smith, don't worry. You can cover the ugly seams and we'll make it pretty. If your panels aren't lining up great when you're putting your panels on, that's fine. You can put them on really however you want. Like, you don't have to have the most perfect Lady Loki seams, like going in at this perfect chevron. Put them on how you want to. Nobody's gonna care. You're gonna look like Lady Loki no matter what. Potato Army is here to help. That's an understatement. I don't know what the understatement was. All right, so we have panel number 1. Okay, we're gonna do this one much quicker. So this is the right one, so it should pop out this way. But when we're putting the seam together, it's gonna actually be inverted, and that's because we're gonna put the outside seams together first. So I'll do that again for you on the camera. So here we go. Pushing these seams together. You can see this side's a little bit longer, the way I started doing it together. It's not that the pattern's off, it's that I must have shifted too much one way or the other in the beginning. So doing this side much quicker, since I already taught you the other side, we're just gonna smash this together real fast. All right, so now we have our inverted cup. This needs to pop up the other way. Easy peasy. We're gonna turn it upside down. You can see our split seams. That's the underside of our seams. Don't worry. Don't worry about a thing. Boo, boo, boo. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba. Yep, it's gonna be alright, I promise. Wait, is that gonna get my YouTube video copyrighted? Oh crap, YouTube, I didn't mean it! I didn't mean it! Everything's not gonna be alright, I'm sorry. You apologize to YouTube for being odd. Well, now I'm apologizing to YouTube again for singing a song I might not be allowed. I've heard of people getting copyright strikes because they like just off key, like I was, like sang part of a song. Okay, so just like last time, I'm gonna kind of grab my fist and I'm gonna push on that seam from underneath. We're gonna do this again with heat to get it to have a pretty curve. Because one thing that you're gonna find with a pattern like this that has a whole bunch of seams is you might feel like you get a whole bunch of triangle darts on your boob, which nobody wants triangle boobs, right? We're not Lara Croft. So anyway, no Lara Croft boobs here today. So there's a way that we're gonna fix this, and we're gonna do it after we join these two seams together. So wait to fix these triangle darts until it's all together. I'm gonna show you how to do that. All right, so back to our contact cement. I am in a well-ventilated area. I have a window open. So the thing about contact cement is you're probably gonna wanna wear a respirator or some sort of mask that filters out chemical smell as opposed to filtering out dust. Because there's masks that filter out dust, and then there's masks that filter out like chemicals. So you want to have a respirator if you are in a non-ventilated area. I have this door open and I have this window open. You guys are gonna have a hard time hearing me speak if I put the respirator on. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip that today, just for the sake of the YouTube video. But I just want you to know, if I was on my own and was not filming, I would definitely put a respirator on. So just know that, you guys. Contact cement is no joke. And then when I'm, here's the glue, by the way, that I use. When I'm done, I just put the lid back on. Sometimes I put it in a squirt bottle. Sometimes I just come right out of the can like I am today with a foam brush. So this is DAP Weldwood contact cement. It's my favorite. A lot of people like Barge. The one contact cement that I recommend not using is actually Elmer's. Elmer's makes a contact cement. It comes in a brown bottle, I think with a blue label. And it is so bad. It is so bad. If you bought that to use this on your cosplay, return it. Or keep it, but use it for like a children's project or I don't know, like a weight for your office for papers. Like that's all it's good for. It is not good for cosplay. The glue is too gummy and it won't adhere well. It has a really bad adhesion. All right, hey Porter, stop! What are you doing, man? So icky, boo. He's chewing on his paw. All right, I'm gonna use an extra foam scrap here to scrape up some of this glue. Make sure my heat gun is on. Yes, okay, we're gonna need the heat gun. It's water time, I gotta water up. I guess while I'm waiting for this to cure, I can cut out some of these pieces. I want you guys to know that I am using my own pattern. This was a struggle. This pattern was one of the most difficult patterns I've had to turn into a digitized file. So my patterns work great, my masking tape patterns. I've used them twice now to make these and it's fantastic. But whenever I was digitizing these and putting on the computer, they kept getting off. So it took me like 2 days to make this pattern for you guys. And what I would do is I would digitize the pattern, then I'd print this out, and then I would put my original masking tape pieces up to it, and I double check, and it kept being like a little bit off, a little bit here, a little bit there, and I really wanted it to be perfect for you guys, like the exact one I used in the photo. So anyway, one thing I know is these are exact. Porter's just protecting you. He's really lonely right now because the littles are off at summer camp. I sent them to summer camp for the week. And it's just a fun like outdoor camp. where they can do like archery and rock climbing and kayaking. It's up in the mountains. And they've been gone since Sunday. So it's been really quiet here, and I think he just doesn't know what to do with himself. Also, my apologies. I meant to cut these out ahead of time before the stream, but I just had a really busy morning with emails and stuff, and I promised you guys I would try to give you some clues about what I was working on in LA. Actually, Hollywood, by the way. Allie got to go to Hollywood. I recorded some cool stuff in Hollywood, and I have something coming up as a film type of project. That's about what I can say. I can say I did have to make a new cosplay for it. So that's something that you can know. And yeah, I guess that's most of what I could tell you. Let's see. Some of you know that Slyssa was there. So it was me and her. I guess I can say that. So yeah, lots of cool things going on. This is probably cured now. So let's put this together. All right, so same as before. I like to connect, when I talk about outer edges, I just mean that I'm not taking these together and just boop, going flat piece to piece. I like to go on the outer seam first. See these little registration marks? You want them to touch. As I was putting my pattern together the other day, I noticed some of my registration marks are weird or wonky or don't actually have anywhere to go to. So if you're building the pattern and you're like, oh, there's a random mark here. It's a random mark. Don't worry about it. You can tell where stuff goes, right? Sorry. I was getting extra like excited about putting registration marks in. I think I put a couple extra on there that don't go anywhere. All right, so we got the pieces together all nice. If I turn this inside out, you're gonna see a couple gaps like before. We just press them together. Make sure we get all those nice and tight. So this is the inside. This is the outside. Sometimes it can be tough to like push together a seam that's got a slight gap. So I'm just gonna put my fingers on both sides of this and kind of lightly press to the middle. You always kind of want to invert seams. So I'm pressing on this and I'm kind of denting in the corset, opposite of how it should go. If you want a seam to press together well, go opposite of how it should go. So I'm kind of pushing this inward, and that's making a beautiful, beautiful seam. That looks great. The nice thing about this pattern is that this whole center seam gets covered. So you don't have to worry about the center seam at all. If you have any problems with the center seam, just know that it's gonna 100% be covered by all of your pieces. So don't worry. All right, so now here's the trick to get a nice smooth bust. I do want to say, if you're watching this video and if you're making this corset based off my Etsy patterns, this part you don't actually have to do. Because all your panels are going to cover this anyway, it's going to make it look nice and smooth. However, if you weren't great at putting your seams together and they are really pointy, you might see those points pop through in your panels. So one thing that I would recommend, just to be safe, is to smooth out these, which is what we're gonna do right now. So there's two ways to do this. First off, we're gonna heat it. This is just a regular heat gun. You get it in the painting aisle at the hardware store. Strange thing, if you buy a heat gun in the electric tools aisle, it will almost always be double the cost, which is way odd. So if you buy a heat gun in the painting aisle, it is like half the cost. Nobody knows why. They are the same exact thing. So I'm heating this up really good, especially on the back side. You want to heat it up more on the back side and be more daring than the front, because this is where if you accidentally make a heat mark, it won't show. You're going to take your knuckles and you're gonna push, and it's hot, so be careful. Like, I just noticed that's a bit too hot for me. And we're gonna push, and we're gonna get this beautiful curve, because the foam stretches. And now that it's all put together, and I'm pushing from the inside, We're just taking our knuckles here, and I am really, you can see how much pressure I'm putting on this. My arm's almost shaking. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna really curve. And no, this is not in the instructions for the pattern. And why? Because it's just a pattern. It's not a tutorial. Like, it's a partial tutorial and I give you instructions in the pattern, but if I had to write down every single step like this, it would be a book. So that's why we have YouTube. So anyway, I am curving this out really, really nice. And if this is all you did, you would have a gorgeous, beautiful bust. And you can see it's nice and curvy. There's hardly any like triangular points. It's a beautiful curve. All right, but if you want to be extra, which I know some of you like to be extra, and also this is my trigger warning for you if you have dental fears. I've got my Dremel here. Again, you should wear a dust mask. I don't, you know what? I actually do have one. Dropped it off. It's just a regular mask, but it'll work. But I'll pop this on for just a second. All right, what's my RPMs at? 15, that's about right. I'm gonna turn this on. So dental warning, dental trigger warning. All right, and I'm gonna very lightly, try to make it so you guys can see it. Very lightly take off some of the edge of this seam. Do clear, long strokes. Don't go back and forth like this, because you'll cause yourself some issues. So I'm always going down, just like this. Okay. And I'm lifting, if it looks like I'm going like this, I'm actually not. I'm lifting each time and going back. I'm just doing it so fast it might be hard to see. All right, almost done. One more, you guys. Hang in there with me. If you're concerned at all about the center, you can come in through the center too. I'm not really, but I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I'm going to take a little bit off. There we go. Okay, so that's it for that, you guys. Sorry, I know some of you guys have some major dental trigger warning. So I'll try to warn you guys. So I'm gonna take this off to the side and just kind of take the dust off. All right, and you're still not quite done, but look how much smoother this is. You can see right here, there's a visible shine line where I took off some material. And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna heat this up very lightly. We don't want these seams to come apart. If you heat up glue too much, they'll start to pull apart at the seams. Now watch with the heat gun, you're gonna see those lines start to go away. Because what happened was the surface of the foam was shiny where we'd heated it before, And then I roughed it up with the Dremel. And now the shine's coming back where we're heat sealing it again. All right, so simple as that. Turn it upside down. No need to heat the underside. We're just gonna press again on the back of these seams, rounding out that curve, pushing out towards the edges again. And this is putting pressure on this outer side here where we just heated, which is gonna make it nice and smooth. So see this? And it's a nice fit here. And this is what I was talking about creating an underbust seam. So bras end here, right? So this is gonna end, this is actually hitting the same spot where my underbust wire is on my bra. That means this is gonna give you a better looking bust line, which is, you know, sometimes we just want that. So, all right, so now that we have this piece done, now we can connect the bottom piece. It's kind of an ugly piece of foam. It looks like I got some spray paint on it. Ooh. Okay, I want to show you something to look out for on your foam. So this is high quality foam from TNT Cosplay. I love this stuff, it's great foam, but every now and then, despite paying the money for great quality foam, you might still get a dimple. I call it a dimple. Let me see if I can get that closer for you guys. It looks like this. It's where a little bubble occurred in the foam. It doesn't mean your foam's bad. It just means like, it got a bubble, whatever. So I'm gonna make sure that this is my back side. I don't wanna forget, so I'm gonna put a big B on it. Like, I don't want that to be the front. And then this side does not have a little bubble. So just, you know, check your foam, give yourself the best chances to succeed. All right, so back to the glue. Porter left while I was dremeling, you guys. He was not about it. All right, so you just need one nice coat, like this, nice and thin. You don't need a ton of glue. The more glue you do, the worse it will be. Just a nice thin coat, which is actually why I really like these brushes. All right, back again. Now we go to the underside of this one. Make sure if you're doing your corset that you do it in the order that I do it. Assemble the bust first. Get it nice and smooth. Then we're gonna hook the underbust seams, and then we'll do the side panel, and then we'll do the back panels. After you do all of those, you're gonna move on to the trim pieces. And I detail this in the pattern description. So when you download the pattern, it's 19 pages. So it's so like, I know that there's like some really inexpensive low-key patterns on Etsy. I know there are. There's like some that are $3, some that are $4 or $5, right? They don't get much more expensive than that. And then you have my pattern, which is $14. And you're like, why, Alkali? Why do you do this to me? Why is yours $14? Well, mine is 19 pages. It's front and back, so it's not just the front of the design. And it has detailed pictures and descriptions of how to do things. Like I include photos, I include descriptions, like on all panels, T means keep that side next to the trim, and C means keep that side to the center. And then I have 4 pages of just photos that are completely labeled and show you exactly where to put things. Hey, Moment Killer, how are you? What do you do as Sylvie when you run into Loki? Well, I don't know if you've seen all of season 1, but I guess that would depend on what they're gonna do with season 2, and I don't want to narc it. Have you guys seen season 1? And because it kind of ended with like, you know, there's a lot of stuff left in the open, what she's gonna do. I don't think we know. But I mean, I guess if I'm season 1, Sylvie, I'm gonna like be trying to get his help, and you know, I'm all about that Loki. Season 2, Sylvie, I don't know, I might be trying to cut him. We'll see what they do with it. All right, these need to cure. This one's almost there. Let's talk about cure for a second. See how this is still kind of shiny right there? And see how it, ooh, that's a hot heat gun. See how it's dull over here? You're not getting any shine on it. That's what we want all across it. So as we pan across this, we can see just a slight bit of shine still right there, right? You don't want that. Now, after it's been a few minutes, and if you still have some shine, and granted some of my studio lights are hitting this, then you can just take a leftover piece of foam. I had a leftover piece of foam over here. It's okay, I always have 8 million pieces of leftover pieces of foam on the floor. All right, I'm gonna cut some chunks of leftover foam actually, because I like to use these to wipe up glue. If you're not sure if it's not curing fast enough, you can always just take a little bit of foam and kind of wipe it across the top. And if you hear that squeak sound, it's perfect. So we'll check this one. Obnoxious squeaky sound. Perfect. Okay, so one thing you're gonna notice, this is an important moment. If you bought this pattern, you guys, this is an important moment, okay? Pay attention. I'm at work, just a quick hello. Oh, no problem, it's so nice to see you. This top piece is gonna look longer than this bottom piece. And you're gonna think, how do I get this to connect? Well, this is curved and this is straight. So I promise you, the length of this is still the length of this. Now, what you want to pay attention to is that you're not going to end up with a big chunk on the side. I've made several of these now, and sometimes if I don't start squishing the foam right, I'll get what looks like an inch at the end that I suddenly need to squish in real quick. So it's going to take a firm hand. Now, we're going to come together on this. And I'm almost pulling this bottom piece this way, okay? So as I'm squishing, I'm almost also kind of pulling it. So, and it's tough. See, I did it. It's tough sometimes to get this piece to go to this piece without this piece sticking to the back piece. And you'll notice you're gonna run into that. But just try to lift a piece of it up. And then if you keep one piece kind of up and curved up, it's not gonna happen to you. So there's your little trick. Now let's check. I'm checking right now to see how close I am. Right now I'm still about 1/4 inch too long, which means I need to start pressing together more. All right. This is the trickiest piece to put together because of the curves. But again, don't worry if you have a gap. You can fix it. All right, so if some of you, I'm gonna stop right here and show you this big, ugly, messy piece. Some of you are, and this is the inside, right? I like to work on the inside here. Some of you are at home making this and you're like, ah, crap, this pattern doesn't go together. This is a crappy pattern. Hey, Lexi, how are you? Just know that this is normal, okay? We're trying to get a very, very curvy piece. I made this bust busty. This, I know I keep saying this, but I have I'm not a flat-chested person, and I wanted my Lady Loki, whether you have a big chest or not, to have a more pronounced chest. And even if your chest doesn't fill this out when you make it, this is gonna hold its shape. So you can be all sorts of pretending underneath there, and nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. It's like that TikTok trend where they're like, they're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. They won't know, okay? You can be like an A cup under this, and no one's gonna know. So anyway, that's why I designed it like this. I just think that the TV looking version is just too flat chested. So I made her have this underbust on purpose. Anyway, just squish it together. You need to be like, I hate the word manhandle, but like you need to like lady handle this freaking foam and you need to shove it together. Like if you're being all gentle about it, it's not gonna work. So just push it. Now I'm all salt and pepper. Push it. Push it. Okay. I love my Plexi cosplays here. If you guys are in chat and you're looking for another great creative content creator to follow, Plexi Cosplay is in the chat and she's pretty phenomenal. All right, now I'm just flipping it to the front and you can see this is really curvy and this is not, okay? This is why I made this very complicated 3-dart pattern. Technically, because of both bust sides, there's 6 darts, which I know is super annoying. But I promise you, this is what gives you this like shelf. I wanted a shelf. It will make your little boobies look so gorgeous in this cosplay. All right. Okay, see, we have boobaliciousness, right? That's a technical term. Boobaliciousness, and it's not like a ton, right? You can see from my side profile that it's not like I'm coming out of this. It's just that it's a nice profile. All right, so we've got it. That's the first part. Now we are going to move on to the side panels. Oh, and you know what? I think I printed out an old version of this pattern. I'll double check if this pattern is still too long. Let me double check here. I think I printed out an old version the other day and this was too long, but I think I adjusted it in the patterns that you guys got. Yeah, I do need to cut a 1/4 inch off of this. I'm just gonna freehand it because I can do that. Don't worry, the new patterns you guys have should have the updated version that's not this long version. Alrighty. That is correct. That is correct now. Perfect. Okay. All right, so back to the glue. We're gonna get a nice light coat. Remember, you don't want to put in a big heavy coat of glue. It's just a little bit. Just a little bit, friends. Do not be a lush, okay? This is not margaritas on vacation applying the glue. This is, nah, you just woke up and you're having a little bit of coffee applying the glue. You don't need to kill it. In fact, please don't. Okay, other side here. Havoc Darkstar, hello, how are you? So nice to see you. Welcome here. Also, if you guys purchased this pattern, thank you very, very much. Also, I see 8 of you have liked this video while it's live. If you're one of my likers on this video, thank you so, so much. I know it's a small thing to like a video while it's live, but if you do it, it helps me go up in the algorithm. It's hard to be discovered when you're live on YouTube unless you're a gamer. So if you're a crafter on YouTube, discovery I feel is limited. But likes on it help me get discovered, so I appreciate that. 8 of you are awesome. There we go. Okay, so got the left side done. 10 of you are, 11 of you are awesome. Oh my gosh. Thanks so much, you guys. Appreciate that. Where's the fun in that? Can we at least spike the coffee? All right, I'll let you. I can't, you know, I'd be lying if I didn't say I hadn't consumed some beverages, some adult beverages while creating cosplay in the past. Not today though. I woke up, had my coffee, had a protein bar. Now I'm ready. If you really wanted to be a bit more extra, you could do both sides of this glue and get the back panels going too. But I feel like when you know what, let's be extra. I was gonna say, I feel like when I do that, I get glue all over my hands, but you know what? We're going for it. We're doing both sides of we are rebels today. Take that, universe. I'm gonna glue both sides. All right, let's see if I don't get glue all over myself this way. But for the sake of trying to get this done, I have so many of these to make, you guys. They're labor intensive. And I was hoping more people would choose them unfinished so I wouldn't have to do all the work. But no! Everybody wants them all done and painted and sealed and all the metal pieces on them and all the texture. Jeez. Jeez. Wait, am I missing a piece? I'm missing a piece. Piece 1. Piece 2. Piece 3. I'm missing a back panel. Well, heck. Well, that's okay. I have one of these already done. Ta-da! So I'll fix this, I'll finish putting this one. You guys will see enough that you'll get it. Okay, we'll start working on this one. I must have left the back panel downstairs. I rolled out my giant mega roll of TNT cosplay foam downstairs on my large dining table, and I was cutting out, I have so many of these corsets to make that I was just cutting out all the pieces, and I must have left the back panel down there. Unless it fell. Nope, I don't see it. All right, well, we'll go to our backup corset. 12 now? Oh, thanks, John Man. Thank you. And for the rest of this, I might have to pull out Molly. Some of you guys know Molly. She is my mannequin, and she's been around a long time. She's a bit used, that one. She's got like burn holes on her and pin marks and paint holes. She's had a rough little life, but she hangs in there. So, Molly, Molly's gonna join us so I can put the rest of the panels on. All right, these about ready. This side's still really wet. This is the left piece. This is the right panel. Right panel looks good. All right, we'll go with the right panel. So again, I work from the inside out a lot, you guys. Let me move this on camera better so you guys can see. I'm gonna push this in. Now remember how I said sometimes when you're hitting a big curve, it's easier just to hold this panel upwards? Because we have to get it in that curve. And here we're gonna see, I need to push this foam up to get it to match. Don't be afraid to like handle the foam. Like, I need these two bottom seams to end up flush. So if I need to squish the foam up in here to get it to do that, then that's fine. I'm gonna squish up the foam. There we go. I got it to end perfectly flush at the bottom. That's what you want. I have a tiny gap here. This is common. Just squish it together. I think the thing that I see when I judge cosplay contests a lot is that people almost get intimidated by a foam. They're like, oh, there's a gap there? Well, I'll fill it later. No, you're not. Don't fill it later. Fix the gap now. Squish your foam. Make it do what you want it to do. It's just foam. There. Nice flush seam, no gaps. And again, this is all gonna get covered, so you don't have to worry about it. So I've made videos for every single tutorial. I mean, every single pattern I have on my Etsy has a YouTube video. So my Scarlet Witch pattern has a tutorial. My Loki crown has a tutorial. This pattern has like 3 tutorials because I'm doing this one for you now. I have the grommet tutorial and I have the corset seam tutorial. So there's a tutorial for every single thing on here. If you don't know how to cut foam correctly, I have a tutorial. If you don't know how to use glue correctly, I have a tutorial. It's included in the how to cut foam one. So if you don't know how to do something, just keep looking back at my YouTube. I have tutorials for almost everything. And if I don't, then Kamui Cosplay does. So, or Kenpatsu Cosplay, or Bill Duran of Punished Props, or Evil Ted. There's a lot of resources out there. I'm gonna flip this inside out again. You can see the gap in the foam. This happens a lot because I prefer to put, so like the way we cut the foam, it's supposed to go together like this, right? But I put my foam together like this. I touch an outside piece and then I push it together like that. So sometimes when you get to the back of the foam seam, you'll see something like this, which is what you see now. So when I flip it, we're just gonna push that together. We're just gonna continue pushing that. And the reason I like to start from the outside in is because if we have an ugly gap in a seam, it's gonna show up in the back, not on the front. So here's our front, which is nice and smooth. Here's our back, which might have a couple wonky pieces. Molly's jealous of the new bust. She should be. All right, is this left or right? This is left. make sure to label all your pieces. It's super helpful. And not that it matters because these are all reverse sides of each other anyway. So if you accidentally glue this to the right, it's not a big deal. It is kind of a big deal if you're someone who tends to slant their knife when you cut your foam. So like, let's say you were like, these are all supposed to be straight lines, by the way, when you're cutting, and it's on the key here on my patterns. But like, if you are someone who kind of has a slight bend, then that is gonna matter, because then your outside edge of your foam is gonna look like an inverted edge. So I do like to label my stuff left or right, just because, you know, what if I accidentally twisted my knife a certain way, things like that. Also, if you guys are here and you can't make the whole session, if you would be so kind as to leave me up in the background, so if you're busy and you can't stay, I can still get the view, I would be so pleased. Thank you so much to those of you who I know do that on a regular basis just to help me. I really appreciate you guys. All right, we're coming in here, smashing this together. Ooh, this piece is wanting to be, I think the glue was a little too wet there, so you saw it pulled apart for a second. I just pulled it apart, let some air get in there on the glue, and squished it back together, and we're good. Okay, so now we have the front of the bust and then one of the back pieces on the bust. Now, I left the back piece downstairs, so I don't get to complete this one, but that's okay because I have one right here. So, we're gonna pretend I just glued the other back piece on. And now we have this. This is what it should look like at this point. So what's the next step here? You're gonna be inclined to want to, you know, put the straps on the top, right? To hold it all together, but you do that last. The straps that hold this all together happen last. So unfortunately, you're kind of stuck with this really awkward, corset that you can't like hook together yet. We can't even put the corset holes in it until we put the trim around it, because putting the trim around this bottom is going to show us where we need to make the holes. So what we need to do, and I'll show you here, let's turn this way, we can see my messy room. Oh, you know what? I might not need to use Molly. Oh, you know what? Let's use the, we have, what did we name her? You got Genevieve? Is this Genevieve? I think we have Genevieve now. Isn't that what we decided to give her, like a formal name? I think. All right, so the next step that you want to do is to pre-get some tape out. And if you don't have a mannequin, it's fine. You can still glue the pieces together and just, you know, stick a pillow in there. Grab one of your pillows and put the pillow on like inside this and then tape the straps up. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on Genevieve, and Genevieve's too tiny. She's so little, this is gonna drown her. So, around we go. And I am going to tape the back together. Okay. Just like so. Now I'm gonna take these two strap pieces I made and we're gonna pretend this is a Sylvie strap up here. Oh, it's not long enough. Well, frick. Okay. All right. So this is imitating one of the straps we're gonna have later. And I'm gonna take it around the back and it's gonna strap up the back. Here we go. And if you don't want to do this step, that's okay too, as long as you hook the back pieces together, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll spin Genevieve here. And if you don't want to do the straps yet, that's fine. We're gonna have to move those anyway when we put the trim on. Oop. It's my mom. She can wait. She should know I'm streaming. She follows my Instagram. Okay, so just tape the back on. If at minimum all you do is this, that's all you really need to do. It's coming out. Okay, so Genevieve is all ready to go. So I did not have time, even though I wanted to cut all these pieces out. So we're gonna do that together now. I already got C1, 2, and 3 here, but if you follow the tutorial, it says to do the trim first. The reason why we need to do the trim first is that's gonna act as a guideline for the entire rest of the build. So this is a trim piece. And so you'll see it says, hold on. Where did I write that? Okay, it's on a different page. But there's a page, I might have already cut it out. Okay, yeah, trim goes on first. This is bottom trim, this is top trim, and these are the inside panels. So it goes bottom trim, top trim, and then your C pieces. We will do the top trim first. Like I said, I'm so sorry. I meant to cut all these out ahead of time. But I have been so busy this week. I just got back from California to film the cool secret thing that I haven't been able to tell you about, but the cool secret thing is coming. Also, I kind of made up this back design. Like, it shows the back in episode 5 a lot, and it shows, but it doesn't like show, it's in dark lighting every single time. And you see the back a little bit in episode 6. So one thing I know is I got the shape right of the back. Like, the back definitely comes up in this cool little V shape. Oh, you can't see. Oh, you know, I'll move her here. Yeah, the back definitely comes up in this cool V shape. And we know that it's corseted because in episode 5, we can see the laces blowing in the wind in one of the scenes. So we know that the back is corseted and we know that it comes up in that V. What we don't know is exactly how it's designed because it's shaded. I do know there's some gold accents because in the light sometimes in some of the scenes you can see kind of gold flickering off the back piece. So this design is my design. It's what I thought it should look like. So it'll be funny to see people who don't buy my pattern and make their own pattern, but like copy my back anyway. Because I wonder if people are gonna think it's like canon, like that it's how it's supposed to be, when I totally just made it up. So it'll be kind of flattering if I see people who, like I said, didn't buy my pattern, and I'll be able to tell, right, who take inspiration from how I designed the back, because it won't be how it's designed on the show. Were you in LA last week? I was. And I was locked out of Discord, which is why I couldn't communicate with you guys, and I felt so bad. But I have 2-factor authentication on my phone, and I got a new phone, and I, for some reason, couldn't get in. Okay, so gotta have your tape. All right, so T1 goes to T2. So just follow the directions. It's easy to follow. You can see right here. Connect to T1L, connect to T2L. That just means left side. And then we flip and repeat for the right side. Now, one thing that I'm always concerned about is visible seams. So I actually might do this one separately. I'm actually going to trace this one. We see this trim, okay? The trim is not like this base pattern that we did on the mannequin here. The trim is 100% seen, and what I don't want is a seam right here in the middle where everyone's gonna see it. So I would not, and I put this on the pattern, I noted it on the pattern, so follow the pattern, you guys, follow the instructions. It says on there, I prefer to not have visible seams, so I like to do this all in one piece. So how you do that, I have some scrap paper here. I think I can fit this all on here. Almost. I'll get another piece of paper behind there to do it. Is you're gonna trace this out. And it's a mirror copy, so it doesn't matter if you copy this right side up. I mean, technically you should flip it, but it's a mirror, it doesn't matter. And I'm gonna cut this whole piece out in one piece because it's all visible from the front. This back piece, I'm not gonna hook T3 on here yet. You absolutely can if you wanna be like a superstar and you can cut out this whole thing in foam, but it wastes a lot of foam. There's a lot of free space in between the foam that won't get used. I need another small piece of paper here because this overlaps just a tiny bit. And if you're like a superstar, then you can not have to tape things out and not do this, but I am not. I am not. Okay, so we've got this, and then we'll connect them together. All right, so we cut this out. It's actually probably good that I didn't cut this out ahead of time because this is an important piece because, like I said, all of what you can see right here is going to be visible from the front of the corset. And we don't want seams. If you have a seam, that's fine, but you might have to fill it. I do texturize this foam to give it like a leather look. So I guess you could kind of try to texture over the seam, but I hate having to fill seams. So we're gonna hide the other seam under the armpit. Where if you do have a seam and you can't fill it perfectly, because a lot of you are gonna be new at this, right? You're not gonna fill seams perfectly in the beginning. Then you'll be okay. All right, so we're gonna hook these together. We'll cut out this as one big piece. All right. And then before you cut it out, if you want, let's bring Genevieve over here. You can test it just to make sure. Here, I need to take this again. I'm sad that folder gave up on me. All right, so this should fit the top perfectly. It totally does. And then it's gonna come around here and go to the back, and it does, so we're good. So we have that. So we're about ready to cut this out. I do all of this in 4mm foam. And we have one of these and we need one more. Because this is T3L and we need to make T3R. There we go, so we put this on here. If you read the patterns, it'll say flip, or the page will say flip for side 2. This is just half of the pattern. There we go. Now we have the other half. And I'm gonna let those be seams, so I'm not gonna hook them to this great big piece. Plus, working with that great big piece is a lot to work with. I'll still hook it to this big piece before I put it on. I just want to cut it out on a different spot on my foam. It's super wasteful to put this big long piece out, plus with all the curves. I mean, look at this pattern. It's like all sorts of wonky and weird. And check it out. Like, got a big curve here, followed by coming up here, going out in a curve again, there's gonna be so many spaces between all this that it's gonna be wasteful. So we'll just connect the seam and put this in a better spot. And you'll see what I mean, I promise. I promise. All right. So you got T3L, we have T3R, which means right. We're gonna cut out this great big piece all on its own. Move these over. Okay, and I always need way more room than I think I do. So I have my foam all ready to go under here. Hopefully I can lay this out all nice. This is my 4mm foam. I actually had to make this breastplate in 6, just because I ran out of enough 4, but it's fine. 4 is the way to go though, I promise you. So we're gonna get this on our mat here. There we go. And I like to use pins. You don't worry about like a pinhole, it'll get filled in, it'll be okay. I would be careful about not making too many pinholes, but like I'm just gonna do a couple pins. And I'm gonna do them very close to the edge so that it's more likely to get dremeled off anyway. So yeah. And let's play the magical game of, do I have a silver pen that's gonna work? The answer is usually no, but let's try. That one's not so bad. This bronze one's kind of nice. All right, here we go. And again, I'm doing this in one great big piece, just because I really don't want any visible seams. I don't want to have to fill them in. You don't either. Don't do it. Make your life easy. Cut this all out in one big piece. But don't worry about the piece that says T3L. We'll join that on later. Also earlier, I forgot to mention this, earlier when I was dremeling, I used a stone bit. I used the orange stone bit. They make like turquoise colored stone bits too, but they're just a little less aggressive, I think. I can't remember. I just don't like them as much. All right, so we've got this piece done. Does Allie need more Sharpies? I've actually gone to using pens more. I think the pens actually work better. I know, but actually Ryan Green got my Sharpies last time. This piece fits perfectly right here. I also don't know why I made a T3R. I could have just flipped this and traced it. What the heck was I thinking? Sorry, guys. Some of you watching this back are like, why doesn't she just flip that? Well, okay, I didn't get enough sleep last night. Leave me alone. So T3L, we'll put this one over here. This will be T3R. This fits perfectly in this little curvy spot. And these are small enough I don't have to pin anything. They won't move while I'm tracing. There we go. T3R. All right, so we have our big trim and our little trim pieces, and now we can cut them out. We bought out the store. Yes, you did. All right, so I like to make sure that my knife is sharp. I use this sharpening tool I'll put it in the description below after I'm done live. I don't have it there right now, but also if you want to buy this pattern, it's on my Etsy. And I will put that in the link in the description below as well after the video is over. It's so hard to see these lines. I can kind of see. One, boop, two. I can see it just kind of glinting in the light. And if you want beautiful lines when you're cutting your foam, don't stop. Just follow through. Make nice clean drags with the knife. Don't stop, just keep going. Let your body weight pull backwards. Get in there. Also, make up your mind on how you're cutting into your lines. You should always cut on the inside, all right, you guys, the inside of your marker line. If you're cutting on the outside of your marker line, then you are cutting the pattern too big than it was intended. So if you are making this corset and you're like, Alkali, this is a crap pattern, your pattern's pieces don't even line up, I don't know what the heck's going on, I don't know how to do it, then you probably cut on the outside of your lines, or you probably cut too much on the inside of your lines. Whatever you choose to do, be consistent. Here I went, you can kind of see, I cut on the inside of all my lines, meaning there should be almost no marker left over. But if you look right here, there's some marker left over, which means right here is going to be too fat for the design and it won't line up perfectly. And then you're going to be like asking yourself, what is wrong? What did I do wrong? It's not lining up and I don't know why it's not lining up. Well, you have to cut it right. All right, so we got this one, one more left to cut out. Boop. And here we go. Nice smooth lines. I have a lot of practice, friends, a lot of practice. It's like not even intimidating anymore. Used to be though, long time ago. Long time ago. This one's not as pretty. I'm gonna make it pretty. There we go. Gorgeous. Little tiny flub up right there, but I'm gonna just take my Dremel on it real quick. Yay, done. Okay, now we glue these together, and now we have one great big long piece. Yay, we're doing it, friends, we're doing it! You too can have a gorgeous Lady Loki corset. And I had some of you ask me, Alkali, you sell nothing for men on your store. I want to buy patterns from you, but there's nothing for men on your store. Stop being a jerk and make this pattern for your girl, okay? Jeez, so selfish. So selfish. Also, who says a man can't wear this? A man. You want to be Sylvie? You go be Sylvie. I don't judge you. Okay. Again, we're gonna wait for glue to dry. So this is gonna stay here. We wait for it to dry. Anytime I make a pattern, I put check marks on it. Check, we're done. Check, we're done. And I put them out of sight, out of mind. This pattern, check, we're done. All right, that guy's done. Now while this is curing, we're gonna move to parts, we're gonna cut out bottom trim. Alrighty. So this is TBL2. I know that's complicated, but it just means trim, bottom left, 2 meaning the second piece. So this is TBL1. Trim, bottom, so you know exactly where it goes. Left, so this goes on the left side. 1, so it's the first piece on the bottom. I see a little typo on this page. It's making me crazy. It says, these pieces create the bottom trim of the corset. Tape them all together for half of the upper design. Whoops! Half of the lower design. I'm sorry, friends. If you bought this pattern, I don't know what I was thinking. And also, I made this pattern at like 4 a.m., so whoops. Alrighty. All right, we're gonna keep letting these cure. These aren't quite there yet. This is just scrap paper I have. So we need 2 of these. It says it right on it. This is only half, make 2. So just do what it says. You need to make 2. Plus, if something has an L on it, that kind of tells you that there's got to be an R. There needs to be a right. So, did I flip that? I should have flipped that. Oh well. Doesn't matter. We'll flip this one. So now we have TBR-2, and I'm actually going to retrace this one because there's words on the back of this paper I don't want you guys to see. It's for my secret project in California. It's on the back of this page, you guys. All the stuff you ever wanted to know about my secret trip. It's right on the back of this page, which I cannot show you. TBR-1. All right. Did better than most would at 4 in the morning. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was, I really wanted to get this pattern up because a couple other people had patterns up already and they were doing so well, you know, and every day that you don't have something up means it's not, you know, earning for you. And you know, I'm just a regular content creator, you guys. I don't have a normal job. Like this is my only income other than, you know, Manfred's income. So if I want to be an earner in my family, sometimes if I want to get like something up quickly, like I just need to pull an all-nighter. And then sure enough, the next day I sold like 10 of these and they're, you know, $14 a piece. So I made like $140 the next day, which is, you know, it's good. I needed that. And I felt a bit validated for having to, you know, for staying up so late and getting the pattern up. I worked so hard, you guys. I had to completely learn how to do Inkscape. This is one of the first patterns I did on there. And thankfully, I've been a consumer of patterns for a long time. I've bought Compatsus, Evil Teds, Builderans, Kamuis. I've bought a bunch of, I've supported all my content creators' businesses for a very long time. So I knew what patterns were supposed to look like. I know that some content creators should put a key on theirs and they don't. So I think for one of my first patterns, the Lady Loki crown was actually the first one. I feel like I did a good job. I think I can still improve, but I worked really, really hard on it. And I think we're in a good spot with it. Hi, Clinton. How are you? So nice to see you. But yeah, I'm sure I could get better. But the reason why it took me like 2 days to make this was I just wanted it to be really good. Or as good as it could be. Also, I don't want to seam here, you guys. This is the front. So this is where we tape it together so that we don't have to have a seam. If you want to put a seam in the front, that's fine. If you've already started making this and you put a seam in the front, don't worry about it. I just don't like seams in the front. See, I'm gonna flip this just casually so you guys can't see the writing on the back. The writing on the back will give things away. Okay, so now we have the bottom trim taped together. Now this should be cured. This is the top. T3L, so this goes on the left side. That's this side. All right, so now this is that kind of seam I was talking about, right? So now we have this. There's just a seam here, which I didn't want in the front, which is why I didn't join the panels together in the center. So you just kind of have to deal with that. But again, it's hidden under the armpit. It shouldn't matter. We don't have a nice flow here. You can see there's a slight hiccup. So I'll fix that with a Dremel later once it's already on. Let's see, this is T3R. This is gonna go here. Still waiting on the prints. Oh my God. Yeah, you're amazing for reminding me. I am finally home from the big LA project. Clinton, you're the most darling sweetie. And you know me, I'll send you some extras. Send you something fun, okay? Yeah, I've just been gone. I've been so gone and working so hard at getting this, but it's not a good excuse. I should have got those out to you. All right, so this is the big trim piece, and it looks like a big giant mustache. I mustache you a question. I'm a dork. Okay, so we've got this piece together. This is piece one, but before we put it on, let's cut out bottom piece, this bottom piece too. I'll see if I need more water. I might have to run downstairs and get more. So in just an hour and a half, we've already assembled the corset, and part of this was a lot of chatting time and being super chatty, you guys. So I could, you know, in theory be much faster, but I am chatting with you guys at the same time. Okay, so let's try to get this on here and try to waste the least amount of foam possible. I am gonna make a little hole in the foam. You don't have to choose to do that if you don't want to. I know I can cover it up. Oops, we're a little too far. There we go. See how I like to do this in all one piece, you guys? It just is gonna look better. Okay. So even though this whole, it's because I can't fit this all on one page. So one thing I wanted to do with this pattern was to make it so you guys didn't have to print in poster size, because it's like, I just filtered out all the steps for you. I do have one pattern on there on my Etsy right now. It's my Sylvie sword pattern, and you do need to print that one in poster size, but that's because it's a 28-inch file, a 27-inch sword. So there was no great way to break that down onto 8.5 by 11-inch pieces and have you tape it all together on my own without possibly ruining the file. So that one you guys do have to print in poster size, but I broke these all down so you could just print it on a normal printing paper, not have to worry about settings. And it's just a lot easier this way. But you do have to tape them all together, which you would have to if you did poster anyway. But I would encourage that on these trim pieces, you cut them all out in one big piece. It's just gonna look so much more fluid. There we go. Mira's here. Hello. How are you? So nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. I am making my very popular, oh, we gotta put our check marks on this. My very popular pattern. It's got, for me, a lot of downloads. I think there's some, you know, people on Etsy who would be like, that's not that many. For me, it's a lot. I've sold like 40-ish of these. And so I'm very happy. I'm very happy that people are liking this. And 2 people sent me photos yesterday of their progress. And Mira, oh my God, Mira. Okay, this pattern is not a sewing pattern. And you know, because you're like sewing wizard. I am not. This is not a sewing pattern. It has no seam allowances, none of that. And I say it too when you buy it. I'm like, this is not a sewing pattern. This is meant for EVA foam. Well, anyway, I got a message last night from a gal who turned it into a sewing pattern. And I was so freaking impressed because it looks really good. And she's basically just ignoring all the underbust pieces, which is what you see here in Genevieve. This is the underbust that gets covered in the panels. So she basically ignored that and just used all my panel pieces, which are coming up next, and is doing a jersey knit back. So she's not doing like the back design that I did. So she basically just bought the pattern for the panel pieces to make her own. She bought my pattern, which I've done before. You know, I've bought Kimpatsu's medieval armor pattern to just hack up and make my own pattern out of, because she had a good enough base that was kind of what I was going for. So I'm just so impressed. This girl totally made my pattern a sewing pattern. And I'm like, I don't know how you did that, but yeah, congratulations. You are amazing. And I know it wasn't perfect for her. I'm sure she had to deal with like a lot of issues, but she made it work. Sorry guys, dental warning again. If you hate drill sounds, here we go. I made a mess up here, I have to fix it. There we go, beautiful. I had a small little drag line from my knife. Okay. All right, I'm gonna show you guys some photos real quick, and then if these amazing people check out this video afterwards, their work will get shown. Okay, so, oh wait, my Etsy's being a brat. Why is that? Turn my Wi-Fi on. All right, come on, Etsy. I'll show you guys some people's progress that are using my pattern because I'm so pleased. What speed do you use your Dremel? I had that one set to 15 because I have a stone Dremel bit on it, and it more cauterizes the foam as opposed to eating the foam like a typical like coarse Dremel bit would do. So yeah, I have I'll show you. I have a stone Dremel bit on it right now, and it's smooth, and it's more gonna cauterize the foam. So I didn't put it up too high. If you use a stone bit and you put it up really high, it's gonna really cauterize the foam. Okay, yeah. So here's one gal. Already working hard on this. Look at this, you guys. I'm not gonna say who the customer name is or anything, but here's one of my customers already doing an amazing job. Congrats to you. I want to show you some of her patterns won't line up perfect at the bottom. So C4 and I think that's P4. The bottom of P4 should line up with C4, and she's slightly off, but it's gonna be okay. And I want her to know that too. Like, you can move pieces around, they cannot line up perfectly. That's kind of the beauty of this pattern. Let me think. Here's someone, okay, and here's the girl who made it into a sewing pattern. And she sized it up too. So look at that. She's using these kind of leathery looking. It almost reminds me of like a yaya fabric, you guys. So yeah, she did this great. And you can see here she got P4 and C4 lined up really great. It's nice. So exciting. Okay, I lost chat for just a second. Let me see if I can see chat again. If you have to use your heat gun, let's hope you don't set off your smoke alarm like the one time, Clinton. All right, let's get these pieces on. Okay, so before you get any pieces on, let's change this camera a little bit. Change this one too, so you can see the bottom of this. Alrighty, so these need to go on first because these set your guidelines for how you do everything else. And I want to show you something here. So this piece is in the center. And I'm wrapping around. This is important, okay? If you're making your own, know this is an important piece. I'm not lining up here with the back, okay? And that's just because of the way the foam curves, and as you're moving, you're kind of pulling the foam. So one thing we're gonna do really quick is give this a curve the way this is curving, because this is curved. So see how I just curved this really quick? See, this piece is straight where I just cut it out on the table. This piece I just curved around the edge of this. So you just take a straight edge, watch, and I'm just going to bend this over the straight edge and push real firm, okay? Same thing on the other side, and we're just kind of putting a curve into it. And I'm pulling down, I'm curving this. The reason it wasn't fitting is I hadn't curved it yet. Okay, you're trying to glue something straight on a curve, it's not gonna work. So now let's try. So now we put it there. Always measure before you glue. And now let's look. I'm a little bit closer, so we're still slightly off. So I'm just gonna give this a little bit of a tug. I'm gonna pull it just a little bit. And I'm just kind of, it's heating it up, you guys. This foam is cold. There we go. We're just kind of pulling this through. Now let's check again. Line that up at the center. Follow along this curved edge. Okay, we're still slightly, just a tiny, tiny bit here. All right, so now I'm gonna heat it up. These are just little tricks. Because, why does this happen? So the reason why this can happen on foam sometimes is because you pulled on it, or I pulled on it when I was stretching it to get it to match the other pieces. So because I did that, it got the foam slightly out of shape on the under piece. That's okay. This piece will still fit. It was made to fit. We just have to give it a little pull. All right. This is probably where some of you are seeing some mess ups. Like maybe this piece doesn't fit or this doesn't go here. It does go there. But this is an intermediate pattern. We're dealing with a lot of curves. We're dealing with heat-shaped foam. So you need to, heat shape your foam. We're almost there. We're almost perfect. Almost there. I missed chat. Hold on. My phone went all wonky. Chat. Hold on. I want this to not be like this. Here we go. Oh, John, thank you so much. You say you don't have the skills or the tools. You know what? It takes a long time. And in the beginning, I didn't have like a mannequin like this, and I didn't have a high table like this. I didn't even have a self-healing cutting mat like this. When I first did this, I was doing it on my kitchen table with a wood cutting board that you use to like chop vegetables. And that's what I was putting under my foam to cut it. And I didn't have nice TNT cosplay supply foam. I was buying the Gold's Gym floor mats from Walmart. And that's how I did all this. Hey, good day, Clinton. Thanks for hanging out. So just know that like it doesn't have to be perfect. I made my full Wonder Woman Mandalorian with hardly any good tools, you guys. You can do it. You don't need all the nice stuff. I didn't have box cutting knives. I had one tiny X-Acto knife that I didn't realize I could change the blade on. I mean, it was so bad. I didn't know. Okay, so I'm spending a lot of time making sure that this is This is perfect, and it's starting to line up real nice. We're almost perfectly there. Let me just bring this around. Okay, and now you can see I'm lining up almost exactly, you guys. I just kind of needed to stretch the foam. We're curving around a curve. And once I start really putting this on, it's gonna look really nice. It's gonna match up beautifully. If anything, you want it to be even a little bit longer than where you're wrapping it, because you can always cut the excess off. Okay, so a little tiny bit more stretching on this. Plus the stretching makes the foam look really, really cool. And really beautiful and smooth. There we go. Okay, so now I'm just gonna take, now that it's good, I'm just gonna mark where the glue line needs to go. Not that it matters that much, glue goes all over this thing. I mean, this thing is covered in panels. So glue line is approximately there. So we're marking our glue line. This side's perfect. Of course this side's perfect. It means I could have also cut my center slightly off. So I'm gonna move my center line just a little bit. And where do we want to put that? Yeah, my center line is slightly off. That's why it was being weird. Okay, so we're gonna make our center. I must have moved the knife just a little bit when I did that. Right here. I'll draw that line real dark. Okay. So now we have our glue lines. Oh, hey, Art's Fun. Sorry for the deep lurk. Oh no, you're good. Darn client with those tempting paychecks. You know why? Are you getting paid to do something? Wow, that's amazing. This is actually for a client too. So I kind of have to do a good job. This is for one of my purchasers on Etsy. And I have 5 of these going right now. All in about this stage. So I like to do my stages all together. So if I'm working on 5 of these, I'm doing all of the bases first, all together. Then I'm doing, you know, all of the trim. Then I'm doing all of the C panels. But because we're doing this one for YouTube, I'm doing it out of order. All right, so trim goes on first. Again, if you don't have a fancy mannequin to make your life easy, like mine is right now, just remember, I didn't have one either. I started out doing this on the floor with the worst tools. I made my Wonderfet cosplay, which went viral on the internet. It went ape crap on Etsy, I mean on Reddit. It went nuts on Imgur, and that's how I got really popular as a cosplayer, was making this one-of-a-kind cosplay nobody had ever done or seen before. And I did that all out of gym floor mats, no good tools, like no good tools, and doing this on my floor. So just know, you guys, if you don't have all the perfect materials, don't worry. Now, if you don't have the perfect glue and if you don't have the perfect TNT cosplay supply foam, is it not gonna be as nice of a finish? Yeah, maybe not. You know, if you look at some of my early cosplays, it was still really cool, but it was kind of like the 5-foot rule, right? Like, it looked great from, you know, 5-6 feet away, but if you if you got right up on it, you're like, girl. So don't worry, you guys, this is like easy, all right? This is easy. You can make mistakes. You're still gonna look badass. You know what's amazing? If you're not a perfectly put together Sylvie and you don't do this pattern perfectly, you're still a badass mother Sylvie. You know what I'm saying? Like, get it. If you're watching this tutorial and you're making this off my pattern, you're gonna look fantastic. You're gonna look fantastic even if you screw it up. Don't you worry. Put on your Loki crown. Go make some mischief. You do you. And look fabulous while doing it. Okay, so now I'm gonna get this one taped up too. Or sorry, glued up too. Now I already tested this earlier and it looked and fit great. I didn't completely follow it around the armpit though, so let's just check. Okay, that looks fantastic over there. This looks fantastic right here. Okay, I'm super happy. Really, really happy with this piece. I just had issues with the bottom piece. Also, this side panel's slightly pulling apart, so we're gonna push that back together. I must have accidentally hit it with some of my heat gun heat. There we go, she's beautiful again. How's this side doing? Looking good. Okay, so again, I could draw out the glue line like I did on the bottom, but I've done this a million times, I know where it goes. Also, if you were doing a different piece, it would probably matter where you put your glue because you don't want a bunch of extra glue, but this whole thing gets covered in panels, so it doesn't matter. You can have glue marks, it's fine. So we're just gonna actually kind of slap some glue on here, start letting it cure. Boop, boop. I think this might be covering a little bit where it needs to go. So, and I also need to be careful with Genevieve because she's my display model. So I don't want her getting like all gooped up like Molly. Molly's special, okay? All right, so that side done. Okay, this comes up about right here. If I'm not putting the glue far enough, I'll just put more on. Again, not a big deal, you guys. This whole corset's gonna get covered in glue. You don't give a crap if your glue is going outside the lines on this, don't worry. Now, on my other patterns, yes, especially on my Loki crown, where you wanna put the horns is where you wanna put the glue, so make sure you mark that first. If you're making my Loki crown, you know, don't go shoving glue everywhere. Just saw Brack is out. Yeah, I do. I saw that this morning. Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra are now co-leads. Yeah, I saw that because of Cora. Cora made a post this morning. I don't know exactly what that means just yet, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Activision Blizzard is having quite the legal scandal going on right now, and their president just withdrew this morning. Now, why is that important to me? Well, I stream a lot of, I stream Blizzard games on Twitch. So, and I just did well, I have a project I've been working on with Blizzard, so. And I started working on that project before all this news came out. So yeah, the thing I was in LA for, you probably already know, is for Blizzard because I was there with Slissa. So, I mean, that's kind of a clue right there. So I made something for Blizzard. I just filmed in Hollywood with Blizzard for a couple days. And yeah, but all this news came out after I'd already, you know, signed on to this project. And I'm still pleased to be on the project. I'm still pleased to be on the Hearthstone team because they're a great team. And a lot of the crappy stuff that's come out has not been with the Hearthstone team. So, you know, hopefully it continues to stay that way. Okay. This is the side that was being wonky earlier. So let's see if we can get this to line up just right. So I'm gonna stretch it. There we go. And I got it to line up. The way I stretched this, there's a slight overhang. I'll put my hand behind it so you can see, of the gray foam. I'll just cut that off later. And I'm slightly overhanging off the edge here, which is perfect because I can just trim that off. If anything, you want it to be too big. Gorgeous. All right, so we've got our trim on. And now here's what the back looks like, right? Trim came right to the edges. I remember we were worried earlier because it didn't look like it was gonna fit, but then again, the foam wasn't warm yet and I hadn't kind of shaped it into that curve form. So you can't apply something straight on a curve and be all upset if it doesn't work, you need to make it a curve first, and that's going to help you. And you're going to see I'm going to do that a lot when it comes to the panels. We're going to heat shape the foam first. We're going to pre-measure the foam first before we put it on, and that's going to be helpful. So there we go. Bottom panel is on. It looks great. Top panel, that glue looks about, oh shoot, I forgot to put the glue on the top panel. Oh man. All right, well, we'll do what we always do, which is get something curing. So we'll get this curing. And I'll cut out some other patterns. So the glue was really heavy on the base. So I'll put this lighter here. It should dry at about the same time. I had a crappy foam brush that was falling apart when I put the glue on the base. This glue's looking great. I hope my tips and tricks are helping you if you're building this yourself. Again, sorry for the live format. I know it's not as easy as like a pre-rolled, like pre-done and edited video, but you can just fast forward through this. I know there's lots of me talking about like my adventures in California and stuff. A lot of the people here in chat are from my Twitch channel, so they're not necessarily here from Etsy, you know, purchasing my patterns. They're just amazing supporters. So thank you, those of you who are here that are amazing supporters. And thank you, there's 17 of you have liked this live video. Holy crap. Thank you so much. That helps me so much. If you have liked this video, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are amazing. Okay, so I'm gonna take this giant piece, we're gonna set it to the side so it can cure. And while that's curing, it's like doing laundry, right? Like something's being washed in the washer, you know, and that's working, you can do another chore, right? Like you can keep, you know, so that's kind of what this is like. It's like that's drying, we'll do another chore. You're giving the expansion a shot? No way! Are you serious, Moment Killer? Yeah, I actually played Standard last night. Can you believe that? Yeah, I played Standard Hearthstone. Guess what I played? You'll never guess. You will never, ever, ever guess, based on my previous history of streaming Hearthstone, what class I chose to play last night. You know, what's great about these pieces is that a lot of them fit on these tiny little scraps that you have. Here for you. Thank you, John Man. Also, after the video, or I don't know if you can leave a comment during the video, but comments help me too. So thanks, you guys. Also, the average view time on this video is about 18 minutes, which helps me with the algorithm so much too. So those of you who've stuck around and have watched for a good amount of time, thank you so much. You wonderful, wonderful souls. All right, so we got C1. I think C1 is not textured, if I remember right. Yeah, and then we just hit this with a little Dremel too, because I got the edge all weird. Or Hunter or Shaman. Yeah, I played some Face Hunter. Of course I did. I wanted to try an Elemental Shaman last night, but I ran out of time. So now I'll have to try the new decks, which is scary. I'm actually coaching Gyminator too after this stream. So I stream on YouTube and then I go to coaching Gyminator. Okay, so C1, we give that a check. By the end of the day, I'll have 5 check marks on this because I'm making 5 of these today. All right, so if I see my patterns have 5 check marks at the end of the day, I know I've done what I'm supposed to do. I want to try to fit as many patterns on this as I possibly can. So maybe curved part out is better. Maybe. I am cheap with my foam, you guys. I bought a mega roll of 4mm And I should, in theory, be able to make all 5 corsets on 1 mega roll of foam. Also, if there's any piece you're gonna mess up on piece number C2. Because it's the piece that gets heavily texturized. Also, when you're cutting these ones, all pieces are straight cut. There's no curving your knife. It's all just straight up and down. Don't be fancy. No beveled edges. No 45-degree angles. All panels on this are just normal cuts. Hey, Moment Killer, if you're still here, you moved to California, right? Like, you don't live in Utah anymore? So I was curious if you were going to FanX, but... Also, this piece should be another C2 in theory. You work on your coaching? I'm not coaching him in how to play Hearthstone. Nobody wants that. I'm coaching him on how to build his stream. All right. Now we need to cut C3, and by the time I'm done cutting these, the glue should be cured. So this corset can absolutely be made in a day. Now, made meaning assembled. Priming is a whole nother half day. Base painting is a whole nother thing. You probably paint the whole thing in a day if you really wanted to. And then accenting and metal accents and all that, that's another thing. Straps. But yeah, I mean, I guess you could, if you're really fast and you started early in the morning, I guess you could do the whole thing in a day if your primer had time to dry. I use Plasti-Dip, and I think it recommends 8 hours before you paint over it, but I can't remember. I'd have to read the back of the can again. Read the back of your stuff, you guys. Don't paint too soon after primer if primer doesn't say you should. And it depends on what primer you're using. I'll be at cons in San Diego from here. Oh, nice. Cool. Okay, now, keep in mind we're dealing with curves, you guys. So if you set this up on your mat and you take a look at this, these don't match up. You're gonna see a gap in here. That's because this is gonna be curving over the bust line. So you can see how that all works. All right, but let's glue this on and then we'll texture this one. I'll coach you through how to texture that. All right, up we go, Genevieve. Now, if you want and you cut this top wonky, you can always just offset this higher, okay? I recommend not because it'll throw off the armpits, but you can a little bit. Like mine is slightly curved at the top, it looks like, where I might have like shifted my hand slightly or something when I was cutting the foam. So I'm gonna lift up my trim just a tiny bit to hide that. And now I'm gonna follow these armpit edges, edge to edge, okay? Even if you have to stretch the foam or move the foam, now keep in mind, I'm not worried about touching this side down. It's kind of lifting. We're only touching the top. So I don't look like so orange on this. The saturation's off on this camera. I have to fix that. Okay, so I'm following, I'm making sure this edge lines up with this edge, and then we'll squish the bottom edge down all nice. And then I don't have glue here, so I'll put some glue there. All right, so trim is on. Now here, I didn't put the glue up high enough. So I'm gonna let that cure while I do the other side. I have glue on the back of this tip here, I just don't have it right There. There we go. Now next side, I'm gonna put the glue up a little higher too, so while I'm smashing this down, it'll have time to get there. Looks like I'm gonna need it way up here. All right. So, following this down, I'm matching armpit edge to trim edge. I'm not worried about this underside edge, not this one, okay? If you're building this yourself, don't worry about this. It'll line up. What you need to worry about is matching this top piece with the under foam. Probably non-cons for a few years. Oh yeah, I get that. For once, I'm kind of with you. I'm a bit more of a germaphobe than I ever was. All right. Okay, see this? She's looking great, right? So we have her trimmed out now. You want to do top and bottom trim first. Okay, now this glue should have cured over here. I'm gonna put these two edges down. All right, so now the back looks like this. Okay, now give it an extra squish. This is where you're gonna push down those bottom pieces that we weren't worried about before. It will line up nice and flush with the foam. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. You see that? Okay, we have the most important parts of our Sylvie done, because it's just so important that we get these on first. And then we want to get these ones, C1, 2, and 3 on, and then we want to get C4 on. And the reason why we want to get all these on first is because we need to try to wedge all the other pattern pieces in between. If you start from top to bottom, you might find you run out of room on bottom if you're not squishing your foam pieces appropriately. So I like to work from the outside in, and I kind of finish the center pieces last. That way if I need to adjust or trim anything or squish anything, I can. Yeah, she's looking great, right, Moment? She's looking so good. Okay, so one thing I need to show you guys, those of you who are sensitive to foam sounds, dental sounds, might want to watch your ears. Okay, I need to get out my... I need to look at a picture of this. I'm trying to remember. Okay, so it's C2. C2 is all dremeling. All right, good to know. C2 is dremeling, friends. Okay, so my sensitive folks, we're gonna get some Dremel sounds. I'm gonna show you the Dremel bit that you're gonna want to use. If you don't have this Dremel bit, that's fine, okay? You can just paint the texture on. I did, Mommy. I thought that was awesome. Pretty amazing. Okay, so which tool is it? It is... Where are you? Did I leave you out and lose you? No, I wouldn't have done that. Here you are. All right. Oh, I got this on Amazon, by the way. I'll link it in the description. It's 276 pieces from WorkPro. And it has everything I've needed. It's been so great. This is the Dremel bit I'm using. Here, I'll put it on this camera. No, this one. See if I can get it to focus. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Let me put it closer. We'll see if that'll... Sorry guys about your eyes. I promise it's not your eyes. You are seeing this blurry. Come on, focus. Come on, camera. Here, I'll put it way close and then zoom out. I'll move my hand out of it. I think it wants to zoom in on my hand. Shoot. Well, I guess I'll just have to show you guys down here. Okay, I'm gonna have to show you down here. It is a metal Dremel with a round top. And this round top is, I don't know, crusty looking. It's hard to explain. It's like a rough textured surface. We're gonna use this. Okay, now to change your Dremel bit, gonna push in this button. This works on even if you don't have the attachment. Loosen the bottom, pull out this bit, push in this bit. Give yourself lots of work room. Don't push this down in tight. We want to not have the little nub in here. We want to have like a nice piece to be able to work with. And then take your wrench tool and put it on tight. All right, now we changed our Dremel bit. Easy peasy. Okay, turn your volume down if you are sensitive. And I'm just gonna touch this like this. Okay, just like that. And it makes little circles. Now we don't want a perfect pattern where it's all a straight line. You're gonna want to kind of make a straight line just to get yourself going. But then you're just gonna want to do it kind of random. And do it on the edges too, like this. We don't want nice straight edges. We want the edges to be jagged as well. So bear with me, I'll try to do this as fast as I can. Try to push down in some spots more so you get really deep spots. Again, if you don't have this tool, don't worry. If you can't add this texture, it's fine. Just paint it gold. It's not a big deal. Or throw some glitter on it. Be fabulous. I don't care. Be you. Don't have a Dremel, can't make this look like a hammered texture? Throw some freaking glitter on it. I don't care. I don't think Sylvie would either. Loki is a god of mischief. Do what you want with it. Paint it rainbow, I don't care. Have fun with it. Why does it have to look exactly like it does on the show? I mean, I'm making it look exactly like it does on the show because people have ordered it this way. This is a custom commission. But if it's your very own and you're making it yourself, then make it fun. Make it pink. Be you. Be amazing. Really get these edges though. I don't want the edges to be straight. If you're gonna do this, commit and make it all jacked up. This is the only dremeling like this I have to do on stream, so this is the only part you'll have to fast forward through. That's a long time of dremeling. It needs to be done on the straps too, but I won't have time to get to the straps today on this video. I probably won't, we'll see. But you'll use this same technique on the edge of the straps. It's the only other spot, actually on the back of the corset I have it too, but that was just my own personal touch. It's not like that on the show. But anywhere you see in the pictures that looks like this hammer design, this is what I did. Hey, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna do some spots really deep though. I want a lot of texture. Here we go. Done. Sorry guys. It's over. I promise. It's over. All right, and now we get this, which is this hammered look. Okay? And now all of these can go on. Before we put them on, we want to make sure they're gonna come together nicely. Okay, so this piece, let me look at a photo. needs to stretch all the way to the corners. All right, so you can see here, I want this to come to this corner, and I want this to come to this corner. And it doesn't quite make it, probably because I dremeled the crap out of it. So, and it's not on a curve, so I'm just gonna stretch it. You just stretch your pieces, you guys. I promise you the patterns work. You just need to make them work sometimes. Here we go. Now it fits beautifully. This corner needs to go to this corner, okay? This corner needs to go straight up into that corner. Make it work. Make the foam work for you. If it doesn't look like it's going to, then make it. So I'm gonna heat up the back of this. Use my reference photos of my done images to see how everything goes together. All right. There you go. Now it's all nice. Sometimes you just have to work the foam a little bit. And then this piece should sit in here all nicely. I'm gonna put this piece on first. I'm actually gonna put C2 on first because I will fit C1 into the empty spot. But the most important thing, so C1 needs to be center, right? Well, you can eyeball center, or you can just know where center is because you matched C2 to the edges. So instead of guessing where center is, I'm gonna let the C2 pattern find the center for me. Otherwise you're just guessing, right? Now we know the center's on the center line here, but what if you don't put it exactly on center? What if you don't? This should fit in here beautifully, but we're just gonna double check. Looks like I have a little bit of my pen line on here. And remember, if you have a pen line, that means you cut it too big. So I'm gonna cut that pen line off. Now I'm looking at this and I don't see any pen lines now. Which means we are exactly as the pattern intended. If you wanna be sure, you can put the pattern right on it and you can double check. Am I too big? Looks like I'm a smidge right here. So I'm actually gonna set the pattern on there. I'm actually just gonna touch that just a little bit. This is a very exact pattern. It is very detailed, okay? If you want it to go together really, really nicely, then make sure it matches your patterns. Put your pattern on top of your piece. Make sure it fits. All right. What time is it? I have a coaching session soon. Oh, we're good. Okay, so I'm gonna stick this corner to this corner and I'm gonna smash that down, okay? Now I'm not gonna smash the middle down, not yet. I'm gonna wait till this is fully attached and this touches the trim piece. Like this piece, there's no gap here. If you notice on this pattern, there's a whole bunch of tiny little 1 to 2 millimeter seams in between. There's a lot of corsets on Etsy right now and some of them have giant gaps between the seams. It's not how it is on the show. The show looks like it's leather panels that are sewn on nicely with and they're almost flush. There's the tiniest little gap between them. So if you're doing this pattern right, you're gonna have tiny gaps between your panels, not giant gaps between your panels. You don't want it gappy. Gappy looks bad. Now we're gonna lift this up. We're not gluing this all on yet, okay? And I just want this corner. We're gonna stretch this corner. Oops, it lifted. I did not squish. There we go. I'm gonna stretch this corner to make sure that this piece goes into the corner. There we have it. And now I'll push the middle down, okay? This ensures, move this. This ensures that we are corner to corner, okay? That's when it's gonna look the prettiest. So the reason we put the trim first on is to make sure we have these pretty edges, right? Our edges lined up, our edges on, and now we're edge to edge. And if you do things edge to edge, you're gonna set yourself up to be successful with the rest of the pattern. A little gap here is fine because there's gaps in her corset, but just a little one. We don't want a big gap here. Just a tiny little baby gap. Baby gap. Aw. Okay, and then this piece in theory is gonna fit in here all nicely. Looks like I need to stretch it ever so slightly. See how I put this down and I saw a tiny little gap here? Oh, you guys don't see that. See this little white dot? There's a tiny little gap there. So I'm actually gonna kind of pull on it just a little bit. Foam is stretchy. You can make it fit perfect. All right, that's gonna go in there super, super nicely, it looks like. All right, I don't have the glue on it yet, but that's gonna look good. Tiny little stretch right there again. Okay, tiny little bit more. And sometimes you can like bend this backwards. I'm pulling it backward to really fit that in there. Okay, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty great. All right, so now I'm ready to put glue on this. All right, and then again, we work while something's curing, because if you just wait for glue to dry all day, it'll take forever to do this. So we put the glue on it, and now while that's happening, we'll look at our reference photo. It's looking good. Thanks, Philip. Thanks so much. And this is gonna come down a little bit on the side here, and this needs to touch all the way to the top. So you can see it fits pretty dang good. I have a little gap here. Where you don't want big gaps is on these edges. So anywhere you have these trim edges, this is where our pattern should go pretty flush. If you look at my reference photo that I include and you zoom in, all your side angles should be just like this, okay? A tiny, tiny consistent gap. And then if we look at these gaps between panels, they're just a small gap. And what I tried to do was I tried to keep all these gap lines very consistent. And even when we come down here, super consistent. There's not big gaps in between these things. Like it doesn't go tiny gap, big gap. It's very, very consistent the whole way through. So just plan for that. And I know looking at my reference image that this piece needs to be flush with this piece right here. It's gonna come under here and it needs to be flush with this piece. Okay, looks like we're gonna be pretty good. This panel's working great. What I wanna do is this is straight right now. It's going on a curve. I wanna pre-curve it. So we're gonna heat it. All right, and I'm just gonna use my hands and give it the tiniest little pull in the middle, okay? And tiniest little pull on the edges. Oof, I'm just using my thumb here. Put your thumb under it like this, cover your hand, and roll down. Other side, thumb under it, hand over it, roll down, okay? See how that's curved? How nice is that? That gives us a really good piece that's gonna fit so nicely right in here. Yeah, that's gonna panel really great. Okay, so that's ready. I'll get some glue because this is cured now. So we want to get the glue started under here for the next piece. Again, you can kind of go crazy town on your glue because the whole corset's gonna get covered with it. Unlike other projects, we don't have to worry about keeping our glue in a specific area. Just takes so much of the worry out. Okay, and now we'll get this piece curing. This is the piece we just pre-curved to fit on our curved mannequin. Again, this is why I call this pattern intermediate. We're dealing with a lot of curved surfaces. This isn't a flat thing. We made a base out of flat two-dimensional patterns. That's now a three-dimensional pattern. So now we have to take our two-dimensional panels that look like this and put them on a curved pattern. So you're gonna have to curve them first if you want them to go on nicely. All right, so on this one, I'm gonna peel this back just a little bit to create a nice little gap in here. I'm gonna put that in the center and I'm gonna squish it in. All right, that looks so good. Slightly bigger gap on the left than on the right, but doesn't matter. Not gonna be perfect. I don't know how far I can stretch this, not very far. But you can see there's tiny little gaps in the panels. It's what we want. We don't want big old gaps, just little ones. All right, so next up will be this one, and I need to, just put too much glue right there. Bit too much glue, friends. There we go. Okay, so we can do check mark on C1, check mark on C2, check mark on C3. I actually want to put little dots on this so that I know that this is the one that gets textured, because sometimes I get confused and I forget which one is which. And you know what? Maybe I should have done that on the pattern too. So C1, C2, C3, they're all done. Next, we're going to cut out C4. C4 goes on the bottom. Like I said, you can cut these all out ahead of time, you guys. I did not have time to cut them out ahead of time. I apologize for that. Here we go. All right, C4. Now, my knife's still very sharp too. This is going great. I thought I'd have to sharpen it by now. Maybe after this piece. Trying to cut on my line or within my line as much as possible. Trying not to cut on the outside of my line. If I cut on the outside of my line, I'm gonna be increasing the size of this pattern. And the more you increase the size of one pattern and then you mess up the next one and then you mess up the next one, the more you're gonna find out your patterns aren't fitting. So just try your best to keep the pattern the same size as the paper. So let's do a quick little matchup and see. All right, so we have C4. This is C4. And let's put C4 on top of it. And I am about right. I'm actually slightly larger. So I'm just gonna come in and remove a little bit of C4. All right, now I'm gonna hit that with a Dremel because I kind of made a sloppy edge there. Oh no! I have to change my Dremel head. I forgot, we changed it. All right, so that's an easy change, easy transition. We'll put the old stone Dremel head on. The reason I'm using a stone one is because I don't want to remove too much material. All right, done. Okay, so C4 gets a check mark. I'll have 5 check marks by the end of the day since I'm making 5 of these. Let's sharpen our knife before I forget. 2 times through the coarse side and about 3 or 4 times through the fine side. That's great. Okay, so now we have the tricky part of putting C3 on. Keep in mind, I need to match these corners. I want it to go up pretty flush to the edge of the corset. Now I'm gonna stretch this, try to get the point to line up in the middle. And to get this to be flush with this edge, looks like I'm gonna have to press in the foam ever so slightly. Okay, so remember you can push and pull your foam. I'm actually gonna peel up this side if it'll let me, if it hasn't cured too much on. And I'm gonna give it a tiny little pull because I want it to come up in this corner a little bit better. All right, I'm gonna re-glue that. I don't like it. You can re-glue your foam. You just have to be really careful. I did not have enough glue in this little corner. It's not sticking in there. So little bit more glue, which unfortunately means I need to let it cure again. So we're just gonna let that hang out and sticking all up. We're gonna flip C4, put glue on the back of it. And like I said, once you get all the C's on, and it says it on the pattern, the C's should go on first. I can't remember if I noted that trim should go on first. I think I did, but it goes trim first, then all the C's, then all the P's, which are the panels. So C's first, which mean anything that lines up in the center. C means it goes down the center line of the corset. If you put the center line of your panels on first, it means everything will line up to center after. If you neglect to put your center panels in first, your center panels could line up off center later, which will throw off the direction of the entire piece. So if you started with the C's, 1, 2, and 3, and then you went on to the P's, which are short for panel, and you forgot to put on C4, C4 is still part of the C's. How I notated on the pattern, do your C's first. Put the C's on first. That includes C4, which is on a different page. So just make sure that you guys do that. She's looking so good. She's looking great, you guys. So we just have to wait for this to, there's a lot of waiting for glue to dry. So while we wait for C4 to dry, which is right here, and while we wait for C3, this corner to dry, I'm gonna cut out P1 and P2. So that means panel 1, panel 2. You'll see some of these panels have a curved edge, like P1 here. See how it's not a straight line? It's a curved line. That's intentional. That means this piece starts to go up under the armpit on this curved piece of trim. So make sure that you don't square off anything that you think like, oh, did Alkali mean to make that a curved line? I think it should be straight because all these panels are straight. Nope. If it's a curved line, it is supposed to be a curved line. And it means it's going up next to something that's curved. So especially when you get into P3 and P5, these are really, really curvy. That's because it's going up and under the bust. And because I made the bust so pronounced on this cosplay, it means that a straight panel needs to be curved so it can go around the curve and look straight. So it's kind of an optical illusion. This curvy panel on this page, I promise you, will look straight when it gets glued onto the cosplay. And if you guys have any questions about these panels, feel free to ask me. Or if you're watching this video after the fact, you can put the questions in the comments or message me on Etsy if you bought the pattern, and I'll be happy to help you out. All right, so we have P1 and P2. Now let's cut out P3. If you see a T on one of these P panels, that means the T is going to go next to trim. Okay, we're considering this piece and this piece trim. All right, so one of these edges will go next to trim work. If you see a B, it's going to line up with the bottom of the corset. Just make sure that you're taking that to the bottom side. It's still going to go next to trim, but we just want to make sure it's on the bottom of the trim. And I label them this way so you wouldn't accidentally put a B at the top and accidentally put this here. You know, if there's a B, it's got to go on this side because it goes towards the bottom. All these are labeled, so if you look at this piece, it says next to C4. All right, so I know that this side is going to go right next to C4. C4 is what we're going to glue on next. T means right up next to the trim. Now this piece, P5, has some more complicated stuff to do before we glue it on. Also, everything I usually heat texture ahead of time, but I'm skipping. On this video, you can use, there's videos that you can, or YouTube tutorials that you can follow on YouTube that will teach you how to give like a leather look to foam. So I'm gonna give these foam panels a leather look. I'm just gonna do it after the fact once it's already on the corset. Normally I would do this first before I glue it on, but it'll take too long today to do that. Anyway, if you see these dashed lines, it says razor line heat tool. So dashed lines mean use a razor line and a heat tool. So I'll show you how to do that on P5. All right. For now, we have panel 1 and panel 2. We have panel 3, which looks like it shouldn't go, right? But if you put this next to this and follow it next to the lines, it does end up in a straight line. So we'll start down here and watch me curve this pattern. It's really interesting. And watch, if I curve this and match it, we're gonna end up right at the top where we should be. And that's because this is gonna come under the bust line. That's why it looks weird. And you'll notice all the odd numbers are on one side of the corset. All right, we had to cut out P2 and all that too. All right, so this I was trying to pull up higher and get to go into that top corner better. All right, and we did it. She looks great. Okay, she's there. All right, slightly gappy right there. It'll fill all in though and look great. Okay. I have a couple of my nail lines where I pushed really hard on that, so I'll have to get those out with the heat tool, but they'll also become part of the leather texture. All right, now I'll put my hand behind the bust seam and I'm gonna push all of this glue down. So I have both hands pressing together right now, and that's gonna make sure I get a nice tight squish. All right, so we have the first part of the Loki corset coming together, starting to look good. Next, we need to put C4 down here. This just means the 4th center panel. It's actually the last center panel. Okay, and I'm grabbing these sides. And I'm actually, ooh, I ripped it there. That's okay. We'll texture that. Don't worry, you guys. You can see even I ripped the foam piece. It's gonna look great when I put the leather texture on. I'm not even concerned. I wonder if I can bring the camera over to show you I ripped that. Okay, I'll try. I'll try to bring the camera over here. Okay, I was peeling up a corner to pull it down closer to get a better glue edge. And I don't know, you guys aren't gonna, I can't stretch it far enough. Maybe you can see right here, I actually tore the foam. But I'm gonna come in and give it leather texture anyway. So this is gonna be kind of a happy little accident. I know I sound like Bob Ross now, but this tiny little tear here is actually gonna look really, really good. So sometimes things like that happen. I don't want you guys to be scared. And this little point is not on the center line. I'm gonna lift it too and hope I don't tear it. And I'm gonna shift this. I'm such a perfectionist, you guys. There we go. I wanted that to point at the center of C4. And now if we take a ruler and I go from this point to the bottom point, we line up. All right, that's what we're going for. We're going for symmetry. So the very, very bottom point here of this corset, this point, and this centerpiece are straight. And in theory, that's gonna be the center line on C4. All right, and if you've done all of that, now you're prepared to put the rest of the panels on. And this is where it gets difficult. This is the hardest part. I probably made this all sound difficult too, but I promise it's just to teach you that these are all your essential pieces, okay? If you get these 4 pieces on, plus the trim, the rest of this will go together beautifully and it'll work as your guides, okay? Now how that's gonna work is once we get down to here, this is gonna be a guide. And if you look at the pictures I gave you, we know that I think it's P4 is gonna go over top of C4 here. I'm actually gonna cut P4 out to show you. Oh wait, where's P4? P1, P2, P3, P5? Where is it? Is it stuck? Am I missing a page? No! Wait, I might have it over here. Hold on. Where is it? I lost a page. It's okay, I have a second printout of this. I have another printout. But I just don't remember if this is the old version of the pattern. Where'd page 4 go? I can't remember if this is the old version. You guys, I might have to, I'm gonna run downstairs really quick and I'm gonna go get page 4. And I need more water too, so 1 second. It's okay. All right, you guys, I've got Porter back again. I don't know if he'll say hi, but Porter is here. All right, buddy, come on over. Hey, mister. Porter's my big Saint Bernard. Maybe we can say hi again for the people who missed it at the beginning of the video. Hi. Hi, baby. Yes, I love you too. You say hi. Oh, I'm 5'6.5", by the way. This is him, and he's only 9 months old, 10 months old, 10 months, standing on his hind legs. Good buddy, good boy. That's a good boy. Okay. Popper, I know, isn't he the sweetest? Okay. I think, yeah, this is the old pattern and it is not good. This was the new pattern and it's correct. All right. And you'll see there's quite the curve here on P6 and quite the curve here on P4. Make sure to cut those out. I want to see him. He's pissing me off lately. He is so hormonal. All his little man parts have showed up since you last came to see him, Ryan. He's very, he's a very demanding little doggy, and he wants to go see the neighbor dog all the time. And he's just discovered, I think that he has hormones and he wants to see girl dogs. And we have one girl dog on one side of the fence of us. And he just goes crazy. He goes crazy every time he can smell her on the other side of the fence. So he is my little teenager hormonal dog right now. And he's very frustrating right now. He's a teenager, Ryan. So hard to deal with. All right, P4. All right, these panels are all the front panels, and then P7 through P10 are all the back and side panels. Time for the birds and the bees talk. So, I think you were here when we were talking about maybe having him make some puppies. So my sister has a Mastiff, and she, that's on the wrong side. She, got 2 Mastiffs with the intent of breeding them, and then one ended up being infertile. So she got these doggies that she can't breed now. Okay. I want to show you guys something. So when you put this together, it doesn't look like it makes sense on here, okay? But this piece, C4, the reason why we put it on first is that P4 needs to go right over top of it. See this? This is the exact size from here to here as C4. So P4 and C4 are friends, and I labeled this. So you want them to line up nicely. So it's gonna matter as we start putting these down how it all comes together. And then this piece on P6, you can see, wants to be next to the side of C4. And then P5 here wants to be next to the side of C4 as well. So it doesn't look like it's gonna all come together because this is all factored with the curve into it. But these pieces here are gonna somehow fit in these empty spaces here. All right, so let's get an idea. P1's gonna go first. And it's gonna go right up at the top here. And we want it to end here. And you can use tape. We're just gonna double check our patterns. Ooh. I've spun this too much. I think it's unscrewing from the base. So I like to tape all my patterns on just to make sure. We got there to there. All right. And we have here to here. And when you put these on, we want this one and this one to make a straight line at the bottom, okay? So these 2 pieces, it's more important, okay? Pay attention, class, pay attention, class. I have a ruler in my hand, I'll get ya. Make sure that these 2 line up at the bottom, okay? This line right here is way more important. Pay attention, class. This line is way more important lining up because it's your center. It's your vision line, okay? This is how people are looking at your cosplay. They're looking right here. They don't give a crap about what's happening over here. Who in the history of ever has given a crap about what the mother F is happening under your armpit? Sorry for the language, but you need to know. Make sure that your center looks freaking good. And if you make sure your center looks freaking good, then don't worry about the rest of it. So you can see there's a little gap here. The way I'm curved, this is a straight pattern though, it's not curved yet. So you can see there's a tiny little gap here, maybe 3/8 of an inch between where this pattern's ending and where the black edge of this is. I want that to look a little bit better. So I'm gonna make sure that when I put P2 on here, I'm gonna heat it up like we talked about heating it up and maybe giving it a little stretch to make sure it's gonna come where it needs to be. So let's cut out P1 first and get that on. We'll cut out P1 and P2. Why is this being so weird down here? It's like it... Oh, there we go, okay. The base isn't tight. I'll fix it. Got it. All right. Okay. Now she'll stop leaning. Perfect. Okay, so we'll cut out P1 and P2. P1's gonna go on beautifully. P2 we're gonna have to curve slightly. This is the top of the breast where we don't have much of a curve yet. There's a tiny curve right here. You can see the pattern lifting up off the base. This is because this is straight, you guys, and this is curved. So here we go. P1 and P2. And if you have gray foam or white foam, it works a little bit better to see what you're doing. All I have is this black foam right now, so it's really tough to see my notes But the good thing is I've made this several times, so it's fine. So we want to label P1. We want to put a C, and we want to put a T, so we know exactly where it's going to go. P2. There's dog hair all over this now. Whoever bought this corset, if there's dog hair on your corset when you get it, I am so sorry. Just know that Porter loves you. All right, P2, T, C. Do not push hard with your pen or you're gonna put imprints in your foam. I just lightly make a little note. Oh, sad Nadia wanted one. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on when my sister's dog goes into heat. And it depends on if Porter even can, but figured we'd let him try. You know, he might not know what to do yet, so he's pretty young. But I read online, I checked a lot of reputable sources, including AKC sites, and it says that, you know, if his age right now is plenty fine, so we shall see. The female's age is the most important because you want them to be over 2, preferably I think 3, and she's 5 I think, so that's perfect. Bonus content, doggy love, absolutely. This knife is so sharp, you guys. I just sharpened it and it's slicing through this beautifully. This is a skinny line and it's hard to cut skinny little pieces and have your knife not drag, and it cut that like so beautiful. Okay, so we have P1 ready. P2, don't forget that curve. There's a slight curve under the edge. Don't just cut a straight line. Sometimes we get like in our modes and forget to look. All right, P1, P2. Sounds like he sure wants to try. A little bit. Okay, before I glue, we always check. This looks like it's gonna go beautifully. I'm very, very happy. We're gonna end right in that center. This does not need any stretching. I'm actually gonna heat it first because I wanna heat it straight because it's actually laying very nicely in its straight state. We're gonna glue P1 before we even measure P2, okay? P1 is gonna go on, we're gonna lock it in place. Once it's locked in place, then we measure and then we stretch P2. And again, you guys don't have to be this thorough. I know I sound so like preachy and like, oh my god, it has to be perfect, but that's just how I work. I like it like this. If you get a bunch of gaps and it's all gappy, it's fine. But if you want to make it look as screen accurate as possible, these are just the steps you're going to take to get there. And you're going to want to do them all in a row. Oh, hey, Ruru. Oh my gosh, I forgot to say hi and I saw your comment, by the way, you darling soul. I saw your comment at the very beginning of the stream when I wasn't actually live yet, where you said first. So thank you for first, by the way, mister. How have you been? Also, you guys, we're getting to that area I told you about where we have these weird funky seams because I wanted that really, you know, stark shelf underbust. And we're getting there, and now you're gonna really be able to see what I meant about not, you know, caring that much if your seams weren't beautiful, because they're all gonna get covered right now. Woohoo, right now. Beautiful Sylvie is coming together so nicely, and these next 6 pieces make such a big difference. Okay, let's put a check on C4. C4 is done. I'm not quite ready for the check on P1. All right, P1, P2, P3, and P4. These next 4 pieces make such a big difference. I think P4 makes the biggest difference once you put it on how everything looks, because this is the one that bridges this whole gap. So we only have this much distance right here in order to get all these pieces. All these pieces have to fit in this tiny little distance. We have to make it happen. It's gonna involve some squishing and moving around of the foam, but we can do it. Again, we were waiting for glue to dry. And we're going for this. I probably should have put this photo up in the corner so people could see. So if I stream this again, which I don't know that I will, maybe I'll stream the painting of this. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but this is what we're going for. And the nice tiny little gaps in between things. We don't want giant gaps. We want this to look like it was leather stitched on. If I can get this to focus, I don't know if it can. The way that I textured the panels, it looks like leather. So I don't know that we'll have time to cover that today. I don't know, friends. This. Okay, just making sure I'm not getting any comments on my Etsy here, that we're all good. All right, so I think panel 1 is ready. Let's make sure we have the C, and let's make sure we have the T, and that the C is going center and the T is going trim, all right? So T means to the trim, C means to the center. Now, remember what I told you before, it's much more important that we get the center looking great. So I'm gonna hover this over where the center is, right here, and I just wanna make sure, I'm gonna double check, I'm gonna kind of bend this up, that's gonna line up nice. Looks like it is, so I'm gonna go ahead and put T on first. Come on, you. All right, T is in place. And then I'm going to grip the foam in such a way that I'm applying it at a nice gappy distance between all the panels. I'm not just shoving this down. I'm making sure that I'm being mindful that the gap is staying at the same measurement the entire way down. I wish you could see this, but there's a bubble right here where I didn't push it down in the center because I realized I was going to end up being too long. So I put the bottom down first, and now I'm just going to reverse squish my way up. It'll go into place and make it go in that spot. We're just going to make it fit. It didn't want to. It wanted to be too long. But now it fits beautifully. Okay? And like I was talking about earlier, symmetry. All right, we've got a nice straight line here. So this is what we wanted. We want this line to be nice and straight looking visually, all right? It's going over a bust, so there's a curve, so it's tricky. So now this is where P2 is gonna go. And before I put glue on it, let's make sure I know where T is. Okay, T's up here, that's top. C is the center. Now, it's very important, we were talking about this earlier, that the bottom piece is flush. That's the most important part. And we want that to line up like this. So I'm actually going to make a little line right here. I'm going to draw right on the foam. And right here. So this bottom piece needs to line up right there, right just through that line. Now, so I'm going to glue this, I'm going to start at the bottom. Last time we started at the top. So I'm going to start at the bottom, we're going to squish that into place, and once that's in place, then I'll start maneuvering this top line, and I'll squish the foam, and I'll move the foam around, and I'll do all sorts of weird curvy stuff until it lines up really gorgeous with this seam. All right? So There's ways that we can do this to make it all come in. Will that take any sword strikes? Likely not. No. Okay. It'll look like it will. Okay, so we've got glue coming in here now. Right? We want all this glue to start curing. We want this center line to be amazing. We don't give a crap about any lines under our armpits or anywhere else where nobody gives a crap, okay? You can have the ugliest seams and gappiest gaps you want under the armpits, but don't have a gappy center seam. Make that beautiful. You got me? You got me, you guys? Okay, where's C? It's hard to see on this. It's hard to see, okay? Ah. It's made a big C. So I wouldn't forget that that's my centerpiece. Flip it upside down. I've made the error so many times of the 7 years I've been doing cosplay where I put glue on the wrong side. So if you've done that, don't feel bad. I've done it many times, which is why you hear myself repeating over. Okay, this is T. Okay, this is C. Okay, this is the front, because I have made the mistake so many times that now I just like talk to myself like I'm a kindergartner. Like, okay, girl, top, bottom, and I get repetitive. I know, but like I've wasted so much foam in the past. Would it be better if the underlayer be painted black to hide seams better? It'll all go black. Yeah, this does not matter. This is all gonna get painted. So normally I work in all gray foam actually, because it's easier to see my lines and where I'm marking. So the one that you see in this picture, this started all out gray. I just happen to have black foam right now. But yeah, all the little lines in between that are gray right now, which you can hardly see because they're all getting covered, those will go black. So that's a really good question. Well, a foam sword, ooh, good idea, yeah. Okay, so again, we work while things are curing. So I have P2 curing. We'll go to P3. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and you work backwards on different sides of it. So on to P3, onward. Let's go, friends. Let's do this. I'm trying to get the most out of my foam, but like, I might have to move this over here. I don't know. You keep moving your foam around and keep trying different places to try to use up. I think this might be the best spot for this to go. Yeah, it looks like it's here. And then I can fit some of those little half rounds. I have to make 4 more of those anyway today. So you guys, this is my whole day. I have to do this times 4 more today. I already have 2 of the bases made, and I already have most of the parts cut out or traced. All right, we are P3. This is top. This is bottom or center, however you want to refer to it. And we have P2 curing right now. All right. And then there's this beautiful curve that comes underneath this piece. That's gonna follow the bust line. So don't straighten the curves. It's natural to kind of, you know, see a bend in it and kind of want to, I've done this so many times, which is why I keep saying this too. I've made a lot of mistakes in cosplay, you guys, which is why I get repetitive with you. It's because I know, you know, I know I'll mess up. So I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes I do. I feel bad. I don't want you to have to go through it like I did. And again, a nice sharp knife took this tiny little sliver of foam off. It's almost impossible to cut this skinny of a piece of foam unless your knife is really sharp. Look how thin that is. All right, so P3, while we're waiting, needs to come Okay, this is where it gets confusing. P3 needs to end at the corner of C4. The junction's right there. And I have another printout that shows this a little bit better. Let me see if I can find that. Where is it? I have a whole page that I made for you guys. Here we go. If you buy this pattern, I explain it all. And pay attention, you'll see P3, which is right here. Its corner, it's hard to see on this black on black, is touching the corner of C4. So what we need to try to do, here is get this corner to come here. It's gonna end here. But how does that happen? This corner to come here if we have this curve? Well, it all just kind of works out. So P1, P3 is gonna come down here. It's gonna end over here all weird. And we're gonna want it to come, see how it's ending? And I have a little, right now it's ending like this. There you go, you can see that. I'll bring my pen over here. And this corner is right here. The little X marks the spot, but we need it right here. So as I'm curving it, I'm gonna work hard to get this to come down here. And then this point here needs to match up with this line right here. So we need this P3 to come in about like this, because we want all these straight lines. All right, so see how this line's continuing straight down to this corner? So we need P3 is gonna come, and we want it to end up in this happy little spot. I'll put a little smiley face. All right, C3 is gonna be all happy and it's gonna end here, and it's gonna end here. In theory, sometimes you gotta squish the foam a little bit. You gotta work it. Until then, we're gonna put P2 on. All right, remember what I said? This one we're gonna start from the center, and I'm gonna put P3 or P2 right in the center here. And I'm gonna put a nice pretty gap, a nice tiny gap between that and P2. And I'm gonna put my hand behind here, and we're gonna really squish this on. Just this piece. And here's why. Pay attention if you're making this pattern on your own. This is important. I try to say things like, pay attention, this part's important. Get this bit nice and stuck, okay? Stuck, stuck, stuck. And here's why. Now that that's stuck, look at the gap here. See that big gap? See how we have a pretty tiny, like 1 to 2 millimeter gap over here? We want this over here. But over here, there's a weird curve. So, since the bottom's stuck now, I can manipulate this, and I'm gonna use my hand to pull it up. And I'm gonna push this real close, and I'm gonna curve this next to the edge above it. It's more important I'm sticking this top curve, okay? And I'm not sticking the bottom yet. I'm making sure that top curve is going in. Beautiful. So I pushed my finger along this edge. Remember we had that gap? It's gone. Now I'm gonna push my finger along this edge. So we're stuck, we're stuck, we're stuck, and now this is all just gonna press down smoothly. Okay, and we're gonna let it follow that beautiful bust curve, okay? Now this piece is going like this. Watch my hand. I'm coming down, I'm curving down and out. This piece just curved now, but I made it do that, all right? And now our little gaps on this are beautiful and consistent, all right? It's not big and gappy. But in order to do that, I had to make the foam do that, all right? The foam on its own is just two-dimensional. You're gonna have to bend it and move it and manipulate it to get it to do what you want. And I promise you can do that. You just have to anchor it where you know you don't want it to move, okay? We anchored it here first. And then because it was anchored and it couldn't move anywhere, then I curved and I pushed and I pulled the foam to go exactly where I wanted, and then I just let the rest cascade into place. All right, so now we have pretty little seams, a pretty little bust curve happening right here. And then this bust curve is the next one that's gonna come in. All right, so P3. P3, we want to line up right in here. And right now it looks slightly long for some reason. I could have, this is where I'm talking about, I could have made a mistake in cutting on the outside of my line. So I'm gonna come back in here and I'm gonna investigate, did I cut on the outside of my line? And it actually looks like I did. So I need my knife to be super sharp because I need to take off just a sliver. It's okay to cut your patterns down. I'm working on a curve here. I could have done something wrong up there. I could have made this gap right here too big, which meant this panel got moved down slightly. You know, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeter is a big difference when you're trying to get something to end in a point. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start at the top and I'm removing a sliver just because I think I traced too far on the outside of my lines. So I'm removing about 2 millimeters here, just the tiniest little skinniest sliver. And now let's see. Oh, beautiful. That is about right now. Okay, that's kind of gorgeous. I think I'm gonna take off just a little bit more. There we go. We're now to about 1 millimeter. Okay. So I've removed about, I think, a total of 2 to 3 millimeters. That's it. But I could have been off on my cut lines. So now you can see it's measuring really pretty. This is what we want. See how we have a beautiful straight line all the way from here, all the way to the bottom, and we're ending at C4. That's what we want. We want all these lines in the middle. That's what makes her design on her corset stand out. Her corset stands out because of the geometric design. So if you want this corset to look amazing and beautiful and professional, then get these points to line up. And that's all you have to worry about. All this crap, P7, P9, that goes back here and on the side, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Get this right, and that's it. And you know what? If we get it slightly off, who cares too? Like, it's fine, it's your corset, do what you want. But these are just the parts I'm trying to tell you will make the most impact, where people will look at you at a convention and say, wow, you made that, right? And isn't that what we all want? We want that moment where people are like, wow, you totally made that. I'm just gonna fix a little spot here where I jug my line on my knife a little weird. I had a tiny little knife dragging mark. Okay, so now we're good. P5 looks great. Looks like I had to fix just a tiny little edge that was too long. Not a big deal. C4. How did I know you'd have a comment on C4? Ooh, that's C4. What was I watching? Oh my god, I watched Coming to America 2. Have you guys seen Coming to America 2? It is so, okay, it's not like a great movie. I'm not saying it's a fantastic movie and you're gonna walk away from this like, oh my gosh, it's changed my life. It's not, but it's like they hit everything that if you were a fan of the first one, you would want to see, okay? So they had so much of the original cast. It's so freaking funny. It's just hilarious. But the C4 reminded me of a spot in the show where there's like this militia in Zumanda. They're in Zumanda, I think is what their country's called. His made up country that he's king of, right? And so there's like a neighboring country, right, that they're kind of, that they don't get along with. And that country is very like, you know, train their kids to fight early, put a gun in their hands early, scary kind of stuff, not good, right? And it's playtime, and he's reading them a story. He's reading them a story about war, and then he's like, okay, now go play with your grenades and your C4s. Oh jeez, it's terrible. But the show itself is really funny. I would say watch it if you guys haven't seen Coming to America 2 yet. It's good fun. It was better than the first one. What? Okay, no. I would not give it better than the first one. But it was, I totally agree with you. It was good though, right? And it was way better than I expected. I'll say that. Yeah, it was really good. And I'm not gonna, for people who haven't watched it yet, I'm not gonna say how they tied it into the first one, but they basically like added some scenes that totally fit into the first movie. So they're doing flashbacks to the first movie, and they're kind of filling in the gaps of what would have happened in the first one to make it work with the second one. And I don't know what they did with Arsenio Hall, because it showed him as younger Arsenio Hall, and they absolutely did not shoot this in the 80s in the first one, because you can totally tell it's like HD filmed. It's not like standard stuff. Like it is so funny, and I can't tell if they CGI'd his face or if they just used a younger actor that then they CGI'd that face to make it look more like Arsenio. I have no idea how they did it, but they made a younger Arsenio Hall, and it is so good. Yeah, I had a great time. All right, let's cut this P4, you guys. If you're making this at home, if you bought my pattern on Etsy, P4 is the hardest one, all right? We suddenly got to get this skinny little piece, all right? We're about ready to put P3 on. P4 is this skinny little piece that fits right in here, all right? It's so tiny, and it's got to curve and get up in there, boss. Like it's the hardest one. If you can get this one on, you are golden. So while this is curing, we're gonna cut out P4. Again, this is the hardest one out of the whole pattern. If you nail it, feel really great about yourself. I told you, I'm so sorry, you guys. This is an intermediate pattern. Like I say, it is not an easy pattern. If you want to get it, Sylvie perfect. The pattern's just fine if you don't give a crap and you just want to throw all the panels on there and you don't care if they line up or this or that, whatever. Yeah, it's fine. But if you care and you're trying to get this to all line up, it's freaking hard. And I hate that I made such a difficult pattern, but it's not easy, It's, even if I made it easier, even if I made the base easier and I didn't do this 3-split bust, because that's the hardest part, even if I made the easy version of the bust under piece, all these panels would still be hard. It's just not an easy pattern, you guys. Did I finally watch Hitman's Bodyguard? I always forget about that. My brain cannot remember. So no, my brain doesn't process. Sorry. C, I gotta make a big C again. T. All right. Oh wait, we can put check marks on these. Oh, check marks feel so good. Done. Okay. I gotta put 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because that's how many I gotta make today. So I need 5 check marks by the end of the day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check. All right, P1, P2, P3. Let's get them out of the way. They're done. Then we have P4, P5, and P6. These all go next to C4, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have this method because I will forget where I've left off if I don't do it like this. Okay, and remember P5 has something special. It's got these razor lines. So we've got to do the razor lines. And I'm going to try really hard to cut on the inside of my line because this piece doesn't fit if I don't cut on the inside of my line. Okay, I'm trying really hard, you guys. Really, really tough. I don't want to have to cut slivers off of this again like the last one because I screw up on how I cut. Right? Either on my line or slightly within my line. Okay, I hope I did it right. Let's test. Okay, this is gonna slide in here. I can already tell it's overlapping the above one too much. It's not fitting. Oh, and I see the pen line. Freaking heck, man. Okay, so I can see pen marks on this. Okay, it's squishing, it's squishing. All right, it's looking good. Okay, it's in there. This is good. It's fitting really well, but it's slightly too close right here. So, and if you look, you guys, you can see, oh, it's hard to tell. I don't know if you guys can see it. My pen line's so hard to see. See the dark edge right here? My pen line's still on there. That's what's making it too tight. So let me see if I can get that pen line off. Here we go. Okay, now let's see if it fits better. I'm telling you guys, the tiniest little piece matters. Come on, fit, fit. I know you do fit. I know you do. There we go. Okay, it looks like she's gonna fit okay. Maybe we're slightly off right here. You can see there's a little bit of a difference, but I think I can make it work. We're slightly too long at the top. So I just need to cut this down just a little bit. Just measure ahead of time, you guys. Like, we're trying to fit on curves, and if you made an error when you're putting this all together underneath, or remember when I was taking this and I was heat curving it with my knuckles, that pushes the bust out farther. So that changes the curves on everything just slightly. But I think we're good. This looks pretty decent. I am pretty dang happy with that. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's not going to end perfectly at the corner like I wanted, but it's not bad. Not too terribly bad. I'm going to come in here just a tiny bit more, right in there. There we go. And that fits pretty good. Okay, I think it's gonna work. Let's glue P3 on. And since I know that P3 has to make that pretty little line, same thing as last time. We squish the bottom down first. See, I'm leaving this hanging in the air, just leave it. Get the bottom on, squish it really good. Make sure it adheres. Use your back of your palm, warm it up. The glue likes heat too, just like that. And then it's kind of hanging here. Then we're gonna grab it, we're gonna hold on to it. And coming up along this bust, I'm gonna push it. I'm being real handsy with it. And I'm pushing this really, really close to the other line. That way I get a pretty seam line. There we go. And then that comes up really beautiful and that fits right in at the top. Ta-da! Okay, magic. And then we'll use our hand to just curve this along the bottom. Okay, so we have a nice, beautiful bust curve again. The bust is completely covered now. And now we just need P4 to fit in here. So let's go, let's do it. We're doing it, guys. We're doing it. P4 is the hardest one. If you're gonna mess up, it's gonna be on this one. I'm gonna mess up right now. It's not gonna fit perfectly. I think when I was heat treating the underbust, when I was curving it from the inside out with my knuckles and I was pushing really hard with the heat on it, I think I might have formed the bust a little too curvy. Who doesn't like curvy busts? So now I just have to try to make that piece fit in an area where I kind of over curved it, but whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Remember, you guys? It's gonna make mistakes. It's gonna be okay. All right, now we put the glue on. All right. Okay. Nice and light. Beautiful. And while that's curing, we will work on P5, because P5 is the one that I wanted to show you. It has these really special kind of cut lines. All right, so P5 has these dash marks on the pattern, and these represent razor tool lines. I'll show you guys how to do those. Mistakes were made. We need to prune this timeline. Oh my God, why didn't I think about that, Ruru? You are so freaking funny. All right, here, let me double check when I have this coaching session. I can't remember if it's 2 or if it's 2:30. So let me double check. 2? Okay, it's in like 30 minutes. So, all right, I gotta wrap this up in the next 30 minutes, you guys. So I'll probably have just enough time to show you P5. Looks like we'll have to, you guys will have to, I think I've shown you guys enough on how to make everything work if you've bought this pattern. I may do another video on the rest of it, but this is kind of enough for you guys to figure it out. I have a video on how to put grommets in a corset if you decide to grommet this. There's already a video on that, so I don't need to show you that on this video. Just watch my video on adding grommets. And then on the back, on these points here, it gets hammer textured. Just these 2 points here. Just like on this. The straps get the hammer texture. Yeah, it's all written up pretty well in the tutorial. This is P5. You guys, thank you to those of you who've liked this video while it's live. I really appreciate it. It's hard to get ranked anywhere to get visibility on YouTube videos that are live. You know, it's just, I don't know, it's hard. Unless you're playing a popular game on here. So the fact that you guys liked this or commented, thank you so much. It'll really help people find my stream. All right, P5. Okay, now we really want to sharpen our knives for this. Super, super sharp knife. You can use a grinding tool too. You don't have to use this tool. Now, P5 is just a guide. So you can make these lines however you want to. And I'm just gonna kind of guess here. Looks like I go from the top edge to about the center. So I'm gonna do and this time you can push real hard with the pen. So it looks like there's a line there. And then there's one that comes off and goes down here. Make them how you want. It's not even like this on the back of her corset. I just did this design myself, you guys. I don't even know if this is how it is in the show. So you don't have to do this. I just did this. Okay, so I marked it with these lines. Now you want to shove your knife out pretty far, because I just like to have a little flexibility to it. And you're gonna make sure to lock your knife. You're gonna cut about halfway in and drag the knife all the way through. Don't go all the way through the foam, just a little bit. Halfway in. And now halfway in. There we go. If you want to and you want to be a superstar, you can really pop your blade out far. I have to do this on the edge. I don't know if you guys can see this. I'll try to here. There you go. You can carve out a smaller section if you want and make like a V cut. If you want to take more of a sliver out. And then what I do, so I'm going to peel out a little sliver here. What I do is I take chain and I do a metal accent in this cut mark. So making the cut mark kind of deep helps me get the metal accent in there. You don't have to do this. All you could have done was the tiny little cut, which was the first step I did. And then you hit it with your heat gun and it'll make a nice dip. I am just going to go the extra step and cut this wider. So I'm making a second line right next to it, pushing the blade in and making a 45-degree angle next to my first cut mark. And that allows me to take out a little piece of foam, okay? And now what I'll do is I'll heat this. Sorry, my lights flicker when I turn this on. The electrical up here is weird. There. And now we have this pretty little design here that looks nice when you paint it with the green. Right? That's how you do that. Okay, let's do the hardest part, which is sticking C4 on, and then we'll stick P4 on. P4 looks like it's pretty much ready to go. P4 matches up with this bottom line here, and then curves underneath this and comes all the way to the top. This looks like it's ready to go. It looks like it's going to be a good fit. So I'm going to go ahead and glue up this side. I remember P5 being an easy one. I remember P4 being a rat, and it is, sure enough. So don't feel bad if you're struggling with P4. It's just the hardest one. You're trying to fit it in this tiny little section, which is why it's so important to get C4 on first. All right, so get all that glue on there. Let's glue up C5. And I think this is gonna be about all I have time for today, you guys, is to go from all the way down to P5, and I think you can pretty much figure out how the rest of it goes. The hardest part is maybe putting the grommets in if you've never done that. Like I said, I have a video on that. Practice on a piece of foam first. The cheapest place to get grommets that I've found is at Hobby Lobby, and especially if they have their sale on their sewing notions. It is like $1.86 for a pack of 24. So really, 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 really cheap. Okay, big deep breath, okay? C4 is the hardest one. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Okay, I'm ready. Now, it's most important to fit it in this gap. So we want it to come in here. This is where we're gonna press first. We're gonna anchor it, all right? I'm gonna anchor this in. Get it in here all nice. There we go. And now that the bottom's anchored, I'm going to start pushing this and pulling this where I want it to go so that I get the gap all right at the top. And this piece is a little too long. That happens sometimes. Don't try this at home. I'm good at this, so I can do it. I'm not going to cut my hand, I promise. Put a board behind you if you're going to do this on your own, but I'm good at that, so it's fine. Mine was slightly long, like 2 millimeters. And then we push that in. Oh my God, did we do it? Did we do it? You guys, this was the hardest part. And it looks beautiful. C4 and P4 lining up gorgeous. That's what I'm talking about, you guys. That is what I'm talking about. It's beautiful. How happy are we right now? How happy are we right now? Like a little or a lot? Like, cause I feel pretty damn happy. Good job. Thank you. Freaking heck, man. It's the hardest one. P4 gets a big fat check, man. Done. All right. Maybe I do have time for P6. Looks like I do. All right. What time is it? Oh, we're doing good. We're doing good. All right, P6, let's go. We can do this. We can do this. Also, if you don't like the panels I made for the back, P7, P9, P10, all that crap, make your own. Like I said, you can't, I have the shape right. I know that. The shape is exactly the shape she wears in the show. I rewinded and like played back that episode a million times. I have an 85-inch TV screen. It's giant. And I was able to get up real close and take pictures with my cell phone and figure it out. So like the back layout is what it should be. But the panels, I kind of guessed. It was a good guess, but I guessed. So if you don't like how I laid out the panels in the back, or you did all the panels in the front and maybe you didn't quite line up things just right or whatever, do it however you want to. Who cares? I'm not the boss of you. It's just a pattern. You know, if you've made a dress before, you've made anything off a pattern before, it's just a guideline. You can do what you want. Potato hype, thank you, thank you. All right, this goes to C4, so C4 goes right here. This is T for trim. We are on P6. All right, so P6 looks like it's gonna fit. Let's double check this next to P4, which was the one that's a total biatch. You know what, that curve came down weird. My P6 is being, ooh, I need to take that curve off. It happens. You can cut down the patterns to fit how yours is fitting, you know? Mine ended up not having as big of a bust curve there this time as the first one I did. So it looks like I need to trim this down a little bit. That's okay. If you need to trim down your patterns to fit in the spot, then trim them down. They should fit, you know? But if they don't, it's okay. It has everything to do with how you curved your initial base layer. Okay, that's looking beautiful. All right, P6, look at you go, buddy. Look at you go. Okay, and this needs to curve just slightly. So I'm gonna heat pull this. I'm gonna just stretch this foam at the bottom. And then P6 should fit very nicely. There it goes. P6 is great. Okay, so now we can glue this one up. Okay, P6 looking good. Panel 6 is what that means. Okay, get some glue on that. Get some glue over here. All right, now we'll glue on P5, which is one of my favorite panels because it has the pretty green layer. Now we want to do the bottom first on P5 because we want to make sure that it matches up to C4 right here. We're trying to fill this little gap. And remember, all of our focus should be on the center, right? Everything should look nice and geometrical and line up really pretty. Thanks for the potato hype, you guys. Look at all those potatoes. I love it. Okay, there's some Porter here. Uh-oh. Porter. Oh my god, Porter, come on. Porter hair is on everything. Got it. All right, Tato hype. Ooh. Okay, P5. Now, just like last time, squish the bottom on. Get a nice secure point so when you start moving this and pivoting it, it doesn't move. Okay, so this piece is our anchor. We're on. Now I'm gonna hold this and I'm gonna use my fingers and I'm gonna curve this out. I'm peeling it away because what I care about is that the piece that goes next to the piece above it has a nice, pretty gap. Right? All those gaps on the corset that make it so Sylvie in between all of these panels. Oops, I got a rip in this one. Okay, you get rips sometimes. Watch how I'm gonna fix this. See how that split on my razor mark? Don't worry about it. It'll be really pretty. It'll give us a nice little gap in there, and I kind of freaking love it. Yeah. Okay, so even I get errors. So my P5 here actually kind of ripped right there, and it's gonna look marvelous. Don't worry. You get little gappies, you get little rippies. It's a fun geometrical corset, and this is one somebody paid for, right? And I have a little split, right? It's hard for you guys to see that. I have a little split right here in this panel. It's gonna look great. I'm not even worried because, let me show you what I do with that slit. See if I can find it. Oh, is it right here? Okay, I know you guys can still hear me. Just hang in here with me. I gotta show you something cool. Where is it? Oh, crap. I can't remember where I put that notion. I have a really, really pretty gold trim that I put in there, and you can see it in my photos. Oh yeah, you can kind of see it here. So, there you go. Yeah. In between those cut marks, I do this like kind of ball chain jewelry that I buy at the jewelry store, at like Hobby Lobby in their jewelry section. Let me see if I can get this to... I had it focused and then I lost the focus. Come on, buddy. Focus. Come on. Dang it, I had it all focused. Oh well. But in between these, I put this pretty little gold chain, so it doesn't even matter. Yep, got a little split there, a little splitteroo. Okay, now we get P6. Actually, I kind of like that split so much, I might recreate it on another one. Anchor that. I gotta put my hand under this because I'm getting a weird split I don't want. Okay, this side's a bit long, right? There. And I thought P4 was gonna be the hard one, and P6 is kind of being a brat. Get P6 in there. All right, it's in there. Follow it along this curve. Okay. Pretty. All right, so P6 went on nice. Okay, so we made the majority of the corset. So that's all I have time for. P7, sorry, this is the even side. P8 goes here, P10 goes here, and then it ends with a pretty little trim that I add, and then it grommets up the back. So all you have to do is the side pieces after this point. So if you're watching this on playback and you're assembling my pattern, the next pieces are just these ones. So I get a mark, a check mark on P6, I get a mark, a check mark on P5. They're both on. P6, I ended up doing this weird little trim on here like this, where I almost had to cut this whole piece off, so we'll put X's there. I don't know that that's gonna happen on my next corsets. It just happened because the curve on the underbust, whenever I was rounding it out with the heat tool, made the overbust more pronounced, which made the P4 before this one line up at a straighter line. So this ended up needing cut off on this one. Don't feel bad if you need to trim your pieces down here a little bit. It all depends on how your whole under corset went together. So it's okay. So even though I've made this pattern and I know this pattern works how it is, sometimes you just get a weird under part of the corset, which is this base gray part that I did. And you have to work around it. So there's a little bit of problem solving with intermediate patterns that have so many geometrical pieces that have to lay together. I mean, this corset alone has, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 7 pieces that make up the base to the corset. There's 10 pieces that overlay just in geometrical pieces. There's 6 pieces that make up the trim. So now we're already up to like 23 pieces or something ridiculous. Then there's the straps. I mean, it's a complicated corset. So if you guys are struggling at all, you know, just know in this video, you've seen me have to make changes to it too. It's okay. Intermediate patterns are like this. You have to do some adjustments. So yeah, I hope you guys like the video. If you have any questions, just ask me. All that's left to do on this is just these, you know, P7 through P10, really easy, and they don't even have to line up perfect. We did the hard part, okay? This is the hardest part of the corset that you needed to know how to do, right? The next parts, it's just the back. Who cares? You can leave it blank. You can stop right here if you want to. I don't care. But I would definitely encourage, you know, P8 looks like this approximately. And then P10 looks like this approximately. And then right here, if you follow the pattern I gave you, you'll see that there's some decorative trim that I did. You don't have to add this. This was just my personal taste. So here's where I added some pretty little decorative trim, but this is the back and it's not really shown in the show that much. So you can do whatever you want. And then the next thing to remember is that you actually have to cut holes in this to run your straps through. So how you do that is you make your straps, it's included in the pattern, you slit holes in this with your box knife, you shove the straps through, you glue them underneath, and then you glue them up to the back of the corset right here. This is where the straps will go, approximately, right? So they're gonna go in here, glue to the underside of the back, to hold them on, come up the top and glue here. You're gonna have to put it on yourself first to make sure you know what length to the straps. And I think that is on page, yeah, this page. And let's see. I made each of my straps 12 inches long to start, okay? Which, just to be safe, and then I cut off the excess after I measured them against my body. So you're gonna put the straps in through the holes in the front and glue them and secure them. But you're not gonna secure them to the back until you put on the whole thing, put the straps over the back, have somebody help you maybe, figure out how long they need to be, put some tape on there or a pin, whatever, and don't glue them till you know it's gonna fit you. So that's the absolute last step, is you take these straps right here, and you're gonna put them in the front first. So you are gonna put them through the hole in the front, you are gonna glue them in place, and then only after that's done on both sides and they are secured, like you know they're not gonna come undone, then you have somebody help measure to where they need to go on your back, and then you glue those down, all right? That's the last and final step, is putting the straps on. Usually with base things, you do something like that in the beginning, like when we were doing our gray base model here, but it's done at the very, very end on this one. So just note that. Anyway, I hope you guys found this tutorial very helpful. This pattern is on Etsy. I'm currently running a sale, so it's only $11 right now, but full price it's $14. So super affordable. I have other patterns too, like the Loki crown, Scarlet Witch. I'm putting up Deku's mask today from My Hero Academia. And there's a whole bunch of patterns that are coming to the store. So if you like stuff like this, stay tuned, and I'm trying to make a video for every single pattern that I put up. I'm a bit behind right now, but I'm working on it. So yeah, message me if you guys have any questions, and I'll help you out. For now, I'm gonna walk over that way to go hit the end button on stream, but thank you so much for those of you who liked the stream. Make sure to comment if you can. It helps a ton. Yeah, so thank you for those of you who like this, and I'll see you guys next time.